Verses coming daily under pressure. Working on applying the scheme. The true style trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking one shot for the kill. The piece got freeze. Straight drop when the kills are talking. Taking over pieces and shares of all sky high. Check the movement is here. Yeah. It's one shot. Now the future is yours. Go. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. The memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. We put the ball to the brakes. I'm talking one chance at best. Yes, hitting pitches for the culture, keep the brushes fresh. Flip the piano, but the drummer passion never rests. It's one shot, now the future is yours. Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage today's Master of Ceremonies, Fox Sports host, Rob Stone.
You may be seated. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Please be seated. I don't want to delay this any longer than we have. I had the honor back in 2009 to host this event. And when it was done, they promptly applied locks to the door and shut it down in Oneonta, New York. So Frisco, you're on the clock. You just notice I have a track record. I think we're going to maintain this, but things did not go great in '09. I appreciate 15 years later, you guys bringing me back to the National Soccer Hall of Fame here in beautiful Frisco, Texas. So good afternoon to everybody here and welcome, yes, to Frisco, Texas, and this, the home of so much great U.S. soccer history here. And as we get ready for the 2025 National Soccer Hall of Fame induction ceremony, I want to give you a quick rundown of where we are right now in case you all missed last night and what is to come. Mary Harvey has told Julie Foudy, this is a roast. You are aware of that, Fouds, right? This is a roast. It is on. The Rimando clan. Where are you, Rimando people? Yeah. See, like, this is a lawyer thing. Like, I know how they're going to respond when I say the Rimando family. They've got a barbecue to get to a little bit later today. I know they're kind of juiced up about that. Table 19 is running a little low on Shiner Box. We'll take care of that. Give me a second. Don't rush me. Carly Lloyd, the beautiful Carly Lloyd. She has already broken into somebody's office to take care of young Harper, who might be in like dream sleep mode right now. You have no idea what's going to happen. We have an injury report. We actually have a Hall of Fame injury report, which is about to happen. Mark Abbott, by the way, for those who don't know, has been the stealth MVP the last 24 hours. And of all the people who you're going to hear from today, the one you least expected to bring props, brought props. Mark Abbott has props to come. I am fired up about that. And Chris Armas. Where's Chris? Where's Chris over there? How's mom doing? Is mom hanging in there? Has she cried yet? We're good so far, Mrs. Armas? So far, so good. I saw Mrs. Armas yesterday. And she promptly blamed me for Chris's knee injury, which prevented him from going to the 2002 World Cup. So much love from the Armas family over there as we get things going. All right, so we want to say welcome to all of our honorees, their guests, the returning members of the Hall of Fame, which we will honor in a moment. All of you at every level, whether it's FC Dallas, Major League Soccer, the U.S. Soccer Federation, and the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Those of you here today as supporters of the beautiful game that we all love, that we all cherish, and means so much to us. And for all of those who are tuned in and watching this live across the country. Before we get to opening remarks, we have a couple of significant adjustments that we want to note for the crowd here. Number one, we have a postponement already. We are postponing the presentation of the Colin Joes Media Award to the great Bob Lee. That is until the 2026 induction ceremony next year. On Tuesday, Bob shared with us, he's headed to the IR. Now, Bob is going on the injured list. It was originally diagnosed as an undisclosed lower body injury, preventing him from traveling. In the spirit of Bob, who is like the journalist's journalist, we had to dig, right? And as part of the media award, and we have some sources. A knee injury has sidelined the general, so he is unable to make it. Quick shout out to our friend Bob, who's hanging out in Key West right now. He's probably got like some tropical shirt on. Nothing has been shaved up here. It's always 5 o'clock somewhere in Bob's world right now. Bob, we miss you. Can't wait to see you next year here in Frisco. The other change today in our running order, this is awesome, by the way. Chris Armas, we got to get things going here, right, Chris? We got to hustle things. Chris is going to go in first into this 2025 class because he's got to get his tail to DFW to get himself to the nation's capital so he can coach the Colorado Rapids against DC United tonight. Not bad, huh? Great to have you here, Chris. All right, so with that in mind, and we know we're on the clock. Everybody's on the clock. Commissioner Garber, you are on the clock already. Be prepared that a clock is prepared for you when you get up here. But we want to make sure Chris can get this flight. We want to make sure he can get to his team. So let's welcome, before we get to Chris, the 2018 National Soccer Hall of Famer and the president of U.S. Soccer, Madam President Cindy Parlow-Cone, to the stage for some opening remarks.
Thanks, Rob. Hello, everyone. It is such a pleasure and an honor to welcome you all here to celebrate the induction of an exceptional group into the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Before we get started, I'd like to thank FC Dallas, Clark, and Dan, and the entire Hunt family for once again providing us with this wonderful venue and their continued support of American soccer. Tonight's induction ceremony is special, not only because of the extraordinary individuals we are honoring, but also because they represent the very best of soccer in this country, both on and off the field. Mark Abbott, Chris Armas, Mary Harvey, Carly Lloyd, and Nick Rimando, each of you has written an inspiring chapter in the story of American soccer. Mark, your leadership and strategic vision was instrumental in shaping MLS into the thriving league it is today. Without you, we aren't where we are now. Thank you. Yeah, that deserves. Chris, I can't see you, but I assume you're, oh, there you are. You are the very definition of grit, determination, and excellence. Your tireless energy, leadership, and passion left a lasting impact on teammates, opponents, and fans alike. And by the way, I was a huge fan. Still am. Congratulations. Carly, what a freaking legend, man. World Cup victories, Olympic gold medals, goals from half field in the World Cup final, you know, just the normal thing that all of us players that are here have already done before you. But seriously, congratulations. You continue to lead both on and off the field. Nick, your remarkable career was defined by consistency, resilience, and record-breaking performances, and has solidified your place as one of this country's greatest goalkeepers. Congratulations. And last but certainly not least, my friend Harv. You're a massive reason why I'm standing up here as U.S. Soccer's president. You are a World Cup champion, an Olympic gold medalist, and most importantly, a trailblazer for women's soccer globally. Your contributions both on and off the field and in soccer governance continue to open doors and inspire generations of young women and girls. Congratulations. Collectively, all of you have elevated our sport, inspired countless fans, and left a lasting legacy that will resonate for generations to come. As we celebrate this remarkable class tonight, let's also reflect on the incredible collective journey we are all on to grow soccer in this country. Together, we've all built something special, but we're not even close to being finished. We have extraordinary opportunities to deepen soccer's connections with communities across the country. With the U.S. hosting the Men's World Cup next summer, and then the Women's World Cup in 2031, and then of course the Olympics in 28, the next 6 years will be transformative for our sport in our country. I don't know about all of you, but I am incredibly excited and believe the coming years will be the best yet. Now, let's celebrate these incredible people and the beautiful game we all love. Thank you.
Thank you, CP. I had to lower the microphone. You're done. The Hunt family, man, there are a couple families in American soccer that have saved and salvaged and built up this sport, and the Hunt family is one of them. They have been leaders in the development of not only teams and leagues, but obviously we're in one right now, facilities, including some of Major League Soccer's first soccer-specific stadiums in Columbus, Ohio, and right here in Frisco, Texas. The previous round of renovations here in Frisco created this, the home of the National Soccer Hall of Fame, and the Hunts have again called in the heavy equipment. It's what they do, by the way. They're really good at it. As Toyota Stadium, as I'm sure you've seen just outside that door, has begun another round of upgrades. Please welcome our host, FC Dallas Chairman and CEO Clark Hunt, and FC Dallas President Dan Hunt.
Thank you, Rob. For Dan and I, this is always a highlight of the year. There are so many people in this room who have impacted my life. From my days of playing youth soccer to competing in high school and college to our professional endeavors in Major League Soccer, and bringing the World Cup to the United States. This room is full of individuals who have shaped the game of soccer and in many ways helped shape my life. Every time I attend one of these ceremonies, I think about our dad. He would be so proud of how far soccer has come in the United States, and he would also be thrilled that the National Soccer Hall of Fame is right here in Frisco, Texas. The Hall of Fame class of 2025 is truly a class of champions. This is a remarkable group of players: Mary, Carly, Chris, and Nick. In this group of 4 players, there are 9 championships at the highest level: 3 FIFA World Cup titles, 3 Olympic gold medals, and 3 MLS Cups. And finally, Mark, who helps establish Major League Soccer and grow the game to where it is today. Mark, it has been such a treat for me to get to work with you for the past 30 years. Let's give them all another round of applause. Each of them has impacted the sport in their own ways, and each of you will have your career and accomplishments enshrined forever here in the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Congratulations again.
I just want to say a quick welcome to everybody here and a special thanks to our FC Dallas staff that puts this on. Jordan, you do an outstanding job with the Hall of Fame, and Crystal, my assistant, thank you for looping everybody in and helping make this happen. And finally, Legends, for the great food and service we have today. Let's give them a round of applause. We would not be here, and especially in this brand new building, without the City of Frisco, FISD, the CDC, and the EDC. Their economic commitment to soccer is unparalleled, and we are so thankful for this partnership. Congratulations to Roger Alloway and Bob Lee. Let's give them a round of applause. And to the inductees, to Chris, to Mary, to Nick, and Carly, congratulations. Chris and Nick, I'm not going to lie, I spent a lot of time cheering against you guys over the years, but I'm so happy. I've admired the way you played the game and been a big fan. And Mary, you truly are an OG. You really helped start this movement in the women's game and help create what I argue is one of the greatest sports dynasties of all time. So congratulations on that. And Carly, I have to tell you, when you scored your midfield goal in the 2015 World Cup, I was holding my newborn daughter and I was racing around the house shouting and screaming, but trying not to wake her up. But it's one of my favorite soccer moments ever. And Chris, I know you have to leave quickly, so we'll hurry this along. I am not cheering for you tonight because you are a Western Conference coach playing against an Eastern Conference team. Sorry about that. Anyways, and finally, a special thank you to Mark Abbott. I can just say thank you. As employee 1 at MLS, I can remember our dad saying there's a talented young lawyer that's been hired and in helping put the league together. And I can promise you this, MLS would not be what it is today without you, Mark, and we may not even exist without you. So thank you to you and your entire family for what you've done for the game of soccer. Thank you guys for being here tonight.
Dan and Clark, on behalf of American soccer fans everywhere, thank you. You guys may not get it enough, but what you, your family have continued to do for this sport in this country absolutely needs to be recognized probably more often. So this is legit, man. Thank you, both of you guys. I see the LH up there. Thank you, Lamar. Thank you to the Hunt family for everything you guys have done and continue to do for soccer. Thank you, guys. You're amazing. Absolutely amazing family. So our guests of honor today, of course, are our newest honorees. But today's celebration also recognizes, obviously, the legacy of the individuals whose names are already in these rafters that circle this great room right here. So today we are going to welcome some of the returning members of the National Soccer Hall of Fame and past Colin Joe's Media Award recipients. So I'm going to ask each of you to stand and be recognized as I say your name. Stay standing, please. Audience, hold your applause and then let it rip at the end. I'll cue you. This is great. You've been seeing these red blazers everywhere, and there's a reason. From the class of 2003, Ted Howard. Get on up here, Ted. We'll hold the applause. Thank you, Ted. From the class of 2006, my wedding crashers date for the weekend, Alexi Lawless, and Al Trost is here as well. Please stand up. Alexi has not worn that jacket since he went in, and he has his original notes. Show him right there. That's his speech, people. It's not even a full piece of paper. It's not even like the piece of paper you get by your bedstand. And all it is just like names, family, and that was it. It must have been a hell of a speech. From 2007, she's the best, Julie Foudy. Get on up, Jules. Right next to Julie from the 2008 class, one of the best damn coaches this sport and this country has ever seen. And damn straight he's wearing a North Carolina hat. Anson Dorrance is here. From the class of 2016, the commissioner, Don Garber. Get on up, Don. Love it. From the class of 2017, folks, the good doctor, Dr. Joe Macknick. Yes. Oh my, the smile I get when I see Dr. Joe in the house. From the 2018 class, the great CP, Cindy Parlow Cone. From the 2019 class, Sunil Gulati. So good to see you, Sunil. So good to see you. From the class of 2022, Essie Baharmas over there in the corner with Dr. Joe. And Colin Joe's Media Award winner, the legend, Seamus Mallon. Get on up here, everybody. Welcome back, and thank you all for joining us. All right, sit down. It's not about you today, okay? You've had your moment. You've had your moment. Since last year's induction ceremony, the Hall of Fame family, though, has lost 4 legends that contributed their time and their talents to growing the game here in the United States. Colin Joes, journalist, author, and historian, who is the namesake for our media award. Dennis Long, the president of Anheuser-Busch that developed the beer makers' global support for soccer. Pat McBride, a former captain of the U.S. men and the first American-born player signed to play in the NASL. And Hank Steinbrecher, Secretary General of U.S. Soccer, who was here throughout the tremendous growth of this sport and 2 domestic World Cups back in the 1990s. We take a moment to reflect on their legacy. Okay, now I've got to turn it back up to 10, and we're going to do it with a guy who I wish was stuck in our midfield right now for the U.S. men's national team. My God, I would love to see Chris Armas, a couple Chris Armases run around for the red, white, and blue right now. He is our first inductee. He is Chris Armas. He was a first-choice selection on the team sheet for 2 Hall of Fame managers throughout their career. From his position there deep in the midfield, messing things up for the opposition, he provided cover for legends of the game with that tremendous Long Island, that Strong Island blue-collar work ethic, tracking opposing number 10s, starting his team's attack, making things miserable for the opposition, and so enjoyable if you're a U.S. fan. For Hall of Famer Bruce Arena's U.S. men's national team from 2000 to 2002, Chris Armas played more games and more minutes in World Cup qualifiers and Gold Cups than anyone. Even though Chris eventually missed that World Cup due to me. Again, I'm sorry about that, Chris. I'm sorry about that, Mrs. Armas, who is nodding her head at me right now. Missed that World Cup due to injury. During that era, he was the best of the best in the U.S. player pool as the team laid the groundwork for that historic run in Korea and Japan. With the Chicago Fire, where he played for another Hall of Famer, the great Bob Bradley, Chris was in elite form for nearly a decade. Starting, man, you remember how you guys started? The Chicago Fire, I don't know if enough people remember it. Team's expansion year, first year in Major League Soccer, 1998. Chris was part of every one of the Fire's trophy-winning teams. That includes MLS Cup, a Supporters Shield, and 4 Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup titles. We take now a closer look at the career of the first player to be named to the MLS Best 11 5 times.
Defensive midfielders don't always get the respect they deserve, but the best of them get the toughest assignments to shut down the top playmakers on the other side of the ball. Few, if any, in the history of U.S. men's soccer did that as well as Chris Armas. From the streets of the Bronx to the top of Major League Soccer, the journey of Chris Armas is a story of grit, determination, and a true love of the game. Born in New York City, Armas took to soccer right away, playing pickup games in Brentwood and in the hallway at home against his brother. At St. Anthony's High School, Armas earned a reputation for an endless work ethic. At the college level at Adelphi University, Armas netted 17 goals and added 15 assists, earning All-American honors in his senior year. He turned pro in 1994 and joined the Long Island Rough Riders of the U.S. Interregional Soccer League. He was selected to the All-Star team, and in 1995, it was his pass that set up the winning goal in the league championship final. In 1996, Major League Soccer was born, and Armas was selected by the LA Galaxy in the first round of the supplemental draft. He spent 2 years in LA before being traded to Chicago Fire for the club's first season. And Chicago is where Armas would make his mark on MLS. In their inaugural year, Armas helped take the Fire all the way to the MLS Cup final, where they beat defending champions DC United 2-0. And the Fire didn't stop there. 5 days later, they added the US Open Cup trophy in 1998 as well, becoming only the second team to win both cups in a single season. Just as he was making a name for himself at the pro level, Armas was also becoming a fixture in the US men's national team midfield. But his journey there was not a textbook one. At the international level, he initially played for Puerto Rico, home of his parents. He wasn't on the US's radar, and he saw playing for Puerto Rico as his path to international experience. Soon enough, the Stars and Stripes realized what kind of player they were missing. After Armas was cleared by FIFA to begin representing the United States, he joined the U.S. men's team and made his national team debut in 1998 under future Hall of Fame coach Bruce Arena. He earned 66 caps for the USA and played a key role in qualifying for the 2002 World Cup, appearing in 14 of 16 matches. A knee injury suffered in the team's first warm-up match would keep him on the sidelines and out of World Cup play. But as he always did, Armas fought his way through the disappointment and used it as fuel to become even better. In 2003, he was voted the MLS Comeback Player of the Year, leading Chicago Fire to another U.S. Open Cup trophy, along with the MLS Supporters Shield. Over the course of his 12-year MLS career, Armas played in 264 games. He was named to the league's best 11 in 4 consecutive seasons and added a 5th selection in 2003. He was a 5-time MLS All-Star, won 4 total U.S. Open Cups, an MLS Supporters Shield, and was named U.S. Soccer Men's Athlete of the Year in 2000. After retiring in 2007, Armas returned to St. Anthony's High School to coach youth soccer and was the head coach of the Adelphi University women's soccer team from 2011 to 2015. In 2018, Armas was named head coach of the New York Red Bulls and led the team to the MLS Supporters Shield. He has also coached at the highest level for Toronto FC and is currently the head coach of the Colorado Rapids. A relentless competitor and a leader on and off the pitch, Armas combined soccer instincts with an endless determination. He made his teammates better and his opponents nervous. And in 2025, Chris Armas was inducted into the National Soccer Hall of Fame.
As an MLS nerd, and I know there's a lot of them in here, like seeing some of that video is so cool, and the old jerseys, and you forget about the Galaxy days, and it was awesome, Chris. All right, so please welcome Jason and Phil Armas, Chris's brothers, to present him for induction here into the National Soccer Hall of Fame.
Wow, how do you follow that? That was very cool. So hello, everyone. I'm Phil Armas, and Chris asked my brother Jason and I to introduce him, an honor that we both deeply cherish. It means the world to us. And as I thought about the way to introduce him today, I thought about talking about his accolades, but no way could I do a better job than you, Rob, or that video. So today I'm going to share a little bit of the personal side of Chris that I know and why I think he's here today. So Chris and I are separated by a year and a half, and we grew up as inseparable. We literally did everything together. So I think about, essentially, we would make anything that was mundane into a competition, whether it was who could score more goals that weekend, who could brush their teeth faster, who could take a shower faster. Literally, I think he wouldn't use soap just so he could finish quicker than I did. And I can tell you that competitive fire was instilled in us by our dad. Our dad was a fierce competitor, but it wasn't that we inherited from him. It was truly in Chris's DNA. So in the essence of time, I'd just like to talk about 3 qualities why I think Chris is here today. 1, unmatched work ethic, without a shadow of a doubt. Chris is naturally gifted. He got straight A's in school. He has an instinctive talent for all sports and an uncanny ability to master anything physical. In high school soccer, during one-on-one drills, which we were on the same team, literally no one could beat him. And as an older brother, this was not just inspirational, but it was a little bit frustrating. I have never seen someone pour as much into themselves into the sport than Chris, both physically, intellectually, and certainly emotionally, with an unwavering determination. As his older brother, again, found this frustrating, but I admired him. Number 2, he's a fierce competitor. Chris doesn't just play to win. He literally plays the game for the pure essence of competition itself. His mindset has always been, I'm going to bring my A game, you better bring yours, and when the final whistle blows, win or lose, I'm going to know that I've emptied the tank and that I left everything on the field. That commitment to competition was what makes him exceptional. 3, and lastly, he has an unshakable character. For those that are lucky to know Chris, you understand that he is one of the kindest, most genuine people you're ever going to meet. Again, this is something a little frustrating for older brother because everyone likes Chris. But I can truly tell you that he cares about everyone around him. As a player, he treated every teammate the same, from the rookies to the stars. As a coach, he brings the same warmth and respect to everyone, whether it's the security guard or the club president. Chris radiates positivity and selflessness. I have literally seen him let the win escape in a game of backyard soccer because he knew the neighborhood kid needed that victory a little bit more than he did, which is tough for a competitor like Chris, but it really speaks to who he is as an individual. Chris, today we celebrate your Hall of Fame career, your achievements as a player and a coach, but to me, you've always been a Hall of Fame brother and an extraordinary person. This institution is privileged to have your name forever etched among its ranks. Congratulations.
All right, Phil left me a minute and a half, so here goes. We'll get through this one. Thinking about how to use this short time, because I know Phil's a speaker, I went to the only place to start a speech, and that was ChatGPT, so here goes. As the youngest brother, and I don't share their closeness relationship, but I'm 7 years younger, and as they've reminded me many times, it's probably an accident. But honestly, for me in life, it was always a blessing. I mean, my 2 brothers, my dad, Uncle Wally over there, just men in my life that have been true inspirations. But it's probably about 4th grade where I was tasked with writing an assignment on who your hero is. And at that time, it was Chris. And why? I asked my mom, I'm like, can you find the speech that I had? She's like, I can't find it. It was a paper. And she says, I can't find it. I'm like, all right, well, I kind of remember. He was always great at soccer, always great at sports, always making things fun, always made me laugh. And it was the way he treated people. Just, as somebody who had the opportunity to develop into a person, what an inspiration. For the many reasons that Phil has indicated here, 40 years later, he's still my hero. I live by a couple of principles. What would Jesus do? And it's always, what would Chris do as well? And in the words of ChatGPT, Chris is a leader, a friend, and a role model. And for me, he is living proof that greatness isn't about winning games, but inspiring people along the way. Congratulations, Hall of Famer. Justine, the boys, the family, the entire soccer community. We're all so proud of you, and I'm proud to call you my brother and my hero.
Here we go. Yeah, I wasn't gonna let you guys off the hook. If I had to get up here, so did you. Listen, I have to get something out of the way first. Those of you who last night were at that event got the email a few months ago, boots and jeans as the suggested attire for last night. But let me tell you, when you're a New Yorker and it says boots and jeans, you know what you do? You figure out which jeans you're gonna wear and where you're gonna get some cowboy boots. And if is line dancing or two-stepping, you're in. But then Google, what is boots and jeans attire? And it says business casual. So we started overthinking things. Hold on a second. The New Yorkers, Armas family is gonna show up in boots and jeans, ready to rock. And everyone's in business casual. We weren't sure if we got it right or wrong. My mother had it planned, so excited, and then my wife talked her out of the boots and jeans. And my father, who's passed away 3 years ago, not anyone in this room would have convinced him he wasn't showing up in his one pair of jeans from 1986. He actually had a pair of boots. He never wore it in his closet. He would have wore it. And probably a Chris Armas soccer t-shirt from soccer camp that I did at one stage, because he wore it all the time. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm, obviously so honored, but when I've really thought hard about it and cut through it all, I'm standing up here because of my parents. My mom, standards. My mom wasn't the Navy person like my dad, but she taught us standards at home. I mean, they taught us so much, but when I really think about it, my dad would say, if you're gonna do something, do it right. But she was the one at home making sure we did it right. Which meant, if we brought home a B from school and she thought we could give an A, she pushed us. And this was all the time. It wasn't sit down and you must do this, but all the time making sure that we knew what good was, but what great was. And this was an everyday thing in our house. And she was the one who taught me how to give everything every day, which shows up in some of the video and stuff like this. But she really taught me that, and it's been with me forever. As my brother alluded to, my father, out of all the things he taught me, I promise you, he taught me competition, but he never spoke about it. And I'd like to give a couple of examples that might make sense. Here's a guy that walked to the train station every day in Brentwood, a mile, hitchhiking often days. He'd work 2 jobs in New York City, walk home from the train station or hitchhike and right to the backyard with us. And he would do this thing where he was a baseball and basketball player, Bronx in Manhattan, and he would just heel the ball through his leg, 6 or 7 years old, and say, "Come on and get it." And me and my brother, we would chase it and we would run. He would knock us down, and I was counter-pressing and pressing at 7 years old. Can you imagine? But I loved the chase. I loved the hunt, and the seeds were being planted that this stuff mattered. He'd lay on the couch, and at the time, I didn't know he might have been tired, but we would run around this little island in our house. It felt like a quarter-of-a-mile track, but it was probably 20 steps. But you would disappear for a second, and then he would, like a boomerang, throw a pillow from the couch. And sometimes you arrive early, that was easy. And sometimes you're late and it hits you in the face. And we would go around and around and around. And this idea of me trying to beat my brothers and them trying to beat me, we would go and go. And the last one, maybe on a same given day, could you imagine? My father would say, "Okay, guys, let's see who could massage my feet better." Could you imagine? My mother is the brilliant at Jeopardy. She gets all the answers. I don't know how. My father, you can drop him in anywhere in the world. He figures it out. He's brilliant. And imagine we start massaging the feet, take off the wool sock, there's lint. And we're like, yeah. And we're looking at the next guy, and he would say, "Who can move it left and right faster?" And then, come on, who gets a little deeper in there? And we're 2 7-year-old deep tissue massage therapists. Bend it this way, bend it that way. Link your fingers into my toes, and which guy can release it? And he'd close his eyes like, "I'm not so sure. I think Chris is in the lead. I think Phil's in the lead. I need a little more time." Brilliant. Everything we did, we competed, but we never talked about it. My mother and father together taught me, 2 of the most important things in my life. That, right from wrong, we knew that in our house. We knew to do right, even when it was the harder right. We didn't take the easier wrong in our house. They didn't sit us down and talk about this, but they lived a life and showed us what right looked like. They did right, honest people, working hard. And they also taught me and my brothers to consider other people. And I've lived a life of that. My parents were always the ones hosting the family holidays, always the ones thinking about the other people, making sure you weren't hungry, making sure you were good. And this was who I became. My father was the one who, and my mother probably was fighting it, would pick up the hitchhikers. Could you imagine? We're going to the beach. "Move over, guys. He's coming in." What? We got the hitchhikers daily, this stuff going to the beach with hitchhiker in the backseat with us. But they taught us to consider other people. And listen, how did this affect me on a soccer pitch? I was the team guy. I'm uncomfortable with a lot of the attention today, but I'm not afraid to say I was a team first guy. I considered my teammates. I didn't care who scored. I'll give the extra pass for the tap-in. I don't care. I checked in with my teammates when they were injured. I thought about the next guy. I did right on the pitch. I didn't always win, but I tried to play with integrity. I was wired with goodness, and this followed me on the pitch. You put in honest performances, but I didn't cheat. I didn't feel good about this stuff. I tried to play the right way. Standards that my mother taught me on the pitch, I worked my very last training session to try to get better, to never accept good. I tried to be great. I was chasing excellence on that soccer field from day one. I didn't always get there, but I promise you, this is how I learned to be the best that I could be for an entire career, knowing that I'm looking up at Zidane and some of the greatest, trying to just be like some of them, stealing from some of these guys. I can tell you that there wasn't a competition or a game that I wouldn't have literally killed myself trying to win. And that made me just a really competitive guy. I could accept losing, but people say, "Do you love to win or hate to lose?" I'm not so sure. You know, I all I know is that the fire was burning bright, and I learned at a young age how to empty my tank in pursuit of that victory. My brothers who spoke earlier, I know that everything they've done in their life, I'm proud of them. I really am. And they've done really good things. You can hear the way they talk. They're amazing. And all of their successes are mine. Therefore, all along, I knew that they were looking at me, and there was no way I was going to let those guys down. Big inspiration to me in my career to just make them proud. My two boys, I have a 20-year-old and a 23-year-old. They're so different, but I love them both. And I'll tell you, when I was a player, it was between 0 and 6 years old. I knew that I was just going to be their dad at that point on a day off, take them to Toyota Park. We would act like they were young little pros. We train the field. We take a little ice bath and hot tub. But I knew that when I was a player, that later on in life, they would maybe be able to look back and see who I was. Because at that stage, it wasn't anything that they were going to take. But if they realized at some point that I played the game the right way, I emptied my tank, I was part of good teams, people, the way, if they listened to an interview, they listened to the way I spoke or what people said about me, and that I played with integrity, I played the right way, that would be the thing. I was never, ever going to lose the opportunity to be a good example for them later on, when they get to see who I was. My wife, I met in 1994 at Adelphi. If she didn't tell you last night, anybody, she would say, you know, you are nothing without me, Chris. You would never make it. Back in 1994, I met her at Adelphi University on campus. If you talk to me or her, someone would say, she stuck her claws in me, let me tell you. Like the plyometrics, and then my quads got big because I'm trying to run away and she's got the claws in me, and you're nothing without me, you'd be nothing. I'm not so sure how it would have went without her, but I can tell you with her, it was incredible having someone like this by my side. You know, in pro sports, as so many of you know, there's ups and there's downs, there's stress, there's internal competition, there's external noise, there's you don't make enough money, now you make some money. There's 10 days before a World Cup getting injured, blowing your ACL, staph infection in the hotel, and having a rock by your side for athletes, pro athletes. I think it's incredible to have this steadiness that I needed, not judging you. Of course, she would tell me many times, what were you doing out there? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? But she was steady for me. And in a pro life, having her at the side, yeah, I can say for 14 straight years as a pro soccer player, having her by my side, I guess she was right that maybe I really needed her by my side. So thank you, Justine. Yeah, listen, and the last thing, and I have to rattle this off now, and I wrote this down because I think you can hear that I was surrounded. There's a timer that I might have passed, but I'm going to try to zip through. I think my family, and I have a really good support system. I think that's clear. Maybe that would have given me a chance for whatever I did in life. But in this sport, you need opportunity, truly, to do your thing on a pitch. So I'm just going to rattle off quickly. Brentwood Soccer Club, Bayshore Hoda, Long Island Junior, St. Anthony's High School, Adelphi. Jim Kilmeade and the Rough Riders, and giving me my first start at pro soccer. MLS has given me everything that I've had. What a privilege to be part of the league. Lothar Osiander and the LA Galaxy, Peter Wilton, the Chicago Fire, Sunil Gulati, Dan Flynn, US Soccer. You know, Sunil, Dan, I would not have had the privilege if you didn't fight for me to be put on that jersey. Thank you so much. Abe Reese was my agent when I was a player, and he gave me so much love and support since I left Adelphi. As a youth player and in my whole life, I've been surrounded by good teammates. How should I not mention these teams that there was always guys better than me, and there was a lot of them, and there was always guys pushing hard, but my teammates have been amazing. And then each coach that I've had, I promise you, I don't know where they got all those goals from that scored. That's for Carly Lloyd. I don't score goals like this. But my coaches saw something in me that many, I don't think could. I wasn't the flashiest guy, but I had a lot of coaches that were perfect for me. Bob Montgomery was my college coach. He taught me that team is like a brotherhood. Alfonso Mandello taught me discipline and real professionalism. Manny Shellshite was a mentor to a lot of my mentors. Manny Shellshite was the first guy to, listen to the voice of the game, Chris. Huh? What voice? But this is really interesting things he taught me to make the ball smart, make it curve this way, curve that way. He was such an interesting person. Can you see the beauty, Chris? Two guys getting on the same page, and this way that the game could be so beautiful. Bob Bradley had it all for me. I try to coach like him. I want to be like Bob. He taught me all the little things, that 1% better at everything. Bob Bradley was the detail guy. Dave Sarakin married it all together, but why should you not be able to do this with joy and in culture? And Dave taught me that. Bruce Arena gave me the greatest gift to put on that jersey. I swear if I wore that thing one time, that was going to be enough. And to have pride in when you put that jersey on. Bruce taught us that, and we would have ran to the wall for it all. To the Hall of Fame, I promise you, that if I was even in a conversation year after year, I don't care if I was ever going to get in. I love that I was even considered for this honor. And to the fellow inductees, Nick, Carly, Mary, and Mark, I'm truly honored to be in this class with all of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the coat's yours, Chris. It's yours. Yeah, you can take it home. Do whatever you want with it. Put it in storage, some mothballs. Wear it tonight. Wear it tonight in DC. Mrs. Armas, we good? Baby do good? Yeah, he did all right. Chris, congratulations. Safe travels to DC tonight. Anybody have foot massage on their Hall of Fame speech bingo card? Anybody? Nope. All right, so the card is still wide open. Excellent. Please welcome next to the stage the most mispronounced name in U.S. soccer, Jorn Buchholz, the executive director of the National Soccer Hall of Fame. It is not spelled that way. It is not spelled Jorn Buchholz, I'll tell you that. Jorn is going to join us right now for a special presentation.
He does have a point. Thank you, everybody, again for being here. Before we continue today's celebration of this year's extraordinary inductees, I'd like to take a moment to recognize someone whose name is not on the ballot, but who has shaped this Hall of Fame in immeasurable ways. Roger Aloway has been a fixture in the world of American soccer history for decades. As an author, a researcher, a historian, Roger has helped preserve the legacy of our sport with extraordinary care and passion. His writing has given life to stories that might otherwise have been forgotten. But what many people may not know is that for 25 years as a volunteer, Roger has also served as the guardian of our Hall of Fame eligibility process. Quietly, behind the scenes, Roger has maintained the records, managed the lists, and made sure that every single person who appears on a ballot truly belongs there. And he's done it with remarkable dedication. For years, Roger kept the Hall of Fame eligibility list on a computer that's never once been connected to the internet. No Wi-Fi, no cloud backups, no shared drives, and no need for a firewall, because Roger was the firewall. It was old school, meticulous, and absolutely reliable, just like Roger. This year, the 2025 induction cycle marks Roger's final one in that role. He's officially passing the torch, though we suspect he'll still be quietly fact-checking us from afar. Roger, on behalf of all of us, the staff, the inductees, the historians, and the fans, thank you for your decades of service, for your relentless pursuit of accuracy, for preserving the soul of this game. We are honored to present you with this award today in recognition of everything you've done and everything you've meant to the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Please come up here, sir.
Congratulations, Roger. Do you trust the internet yet, or are we still kind of? You do? All right. All right. Do you mess with the chat GPT, or is that too soon? Yeah, too soon. I got it. Thank you, in all seriousness, for your contributions to the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Time for number 2. This is going to be a good one. I'm excited. From Foxborough to Frisco and from Seattle to now San Diego, Major League Soccer entered this year its 30th season with 30 teams and some of the game's biggest stars suiting up in all corners of this beautiful country. Those of us who have worked in and around the U.S. soccer landscape for the last 3 decades take immense pride in the opportunity to honor those who have been making history in real time right alongside all of us. Mark Abbott, folks, was employee number 1. Employee number 1 for Major League Soccer. No pressure there, right? The author of the league's first business plan, he has continued to help lead the growth of the league for 3 decades before he departed his role of deputy commissioner following the 2022 season. He is now Professor Abbott down in DC at Georgetown. Today, we celebrate those efforts by taking a look back at his many, many contributions.
When Major League Soccer launched in 1996, it did so with 10 new clubs, some big dreams, and a vision for where soccer in this country could go. Employee number 1 of this fledgling new league was an attorney working out of a fire closet in an office building in Los Angeles. That employee was Mark Abbott, and the MLS of today might not be what it is without his hard work and dedication. Even as a child, soccer was in Abbott's blood. His father, Fred, an Englishman, had moved the family to suburban Minneapolis. Partly due to his English accent, local officials asked Fred to start a youth soccer program. One of the first to sign up was his 10-year-old son, Mark. But while Mark Abbott loved soccer like his father, his legacy would be built on the business side of the pitch. Abbott earned an undergraduate degree at Georgetown University and followed that with a law degree from the University of California at Berkeley. And by 1992, he was working at a law firm in Century City, California. It was there Abbott crossed paths with National Soccer Hall of Famer Alan Rothenberg. Rothenberg was president of U.S. Soccer and was chairing the 1994 FIFA World Cup Organizing Committee. To follow through on a key element of the bid to host the World Cup, the United States would have to create something the country hadn't seen in over a decade, a First Division men's soccer league. Abbott overheard Rothenberg talking about what it was going to take to build this new league and jumped at the chance to help make it happen. Mark Abbott's fingerprints were all over the business plan that would eventually become Major League Soccer. And after a few minor bumps in the road, MLS launched in 1996. It was an uphill battle, to say the least. A lot of American kids played soccer, but the sport wasn't an easy sell to a country raised on football, basketball, and baseball. Against the odds, and with Mark Abbott's steady hand, MLS grew. His belief in the beautiful game and in the league itself helped MLS succeed where previous leagues had failed. New stadiums were built, specifically for MLS. Fans started to fill them, and over the course of 25 years, the vision that Rothenberg and Abbott shared became a reality. MLS brought on Don Garber to be league commissioner. He and Abbott, alongside early investors like Philip Anschutz, Robert Kraft, and Lamar Hunt, guided the league through difficult times in the early 2000s, steering the league away from financial collapse and towards long-term success. When Abbott stepped away from Major League Soccer in 2022, what he left behind was a league that continues to grow and thrive, with 3 times the number of teams as there were in that inaugural season. And soccer, once an afterthought, is now a major player in American pro sports, none of which would have been possible without Mark Abbott, a true builder in every sense of the word. And in 2025, Mark Abbott was inducted into the National Soccer Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Took some work to find those pictures with the old Minnesota Kicks t-shirt on. Well done. Well done, family. Please welcome National Soccer Hall of Famer Don Garber, the Commissioner of Major League Soccer, to present Mark for induction into the National Soccer Hall of Fame.
Well, hello, everybody. This is going to be fun. The props will be coming out soon. There is no better, more excitable guy who's passionate about what he's done over the last 30 years than Mark Abbott. So we're going to have a lot of fun. It truly is a great honor for me to be here with all of you this afternoon. Our sport has so much momentum. We have so much promise. Our federation is really strong. Our members are super aligned. There is enormous optimism about our national teams, and the pro game on both the men's and women's side is growing at all levels. And our sport's biggest events, the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup, the 2026 World Cup, and the 2031 Women's World Cup will be played in our country. But I, like many of you, have always believed that you truly can't celebrate a great future without honoring the past. And this National Soccer Hall of Fame is where the soul of American soccer lives. It tells the story of all of our dreamers and of the doers, those who've helped shape the game and shape the game that we all love. The players and coaches, those who are going to be honored here today and those that are embraced in these halls, those who've had inspired us, those builders and leaders who have laid the groundwork for the sport's growth and for our success. I want to thank Clark and Dan for everything that they and their family have done to respect the history of the game and helping to bring our past to life while providing a beacon for the future of the game with this terrific facility. I know Lamar and Norma would be really proud. And I want to congratulate the entire class of 2025, Carly, Mary, Nick, and Chris. Carly, one of the greatest players to ever play the game. Mary, one of our sport's great pioneers. And Nick and Chris, two MLS and U.S. national team greats. And if Bob is watching, a real shout out to Bob Lee, who really brought the game to life for all the years at ESPN. I'm proud to know each and every one of you, and I know I speak for the entire U.S. soccer community when I say how much we appreciate everything that you've done in service to the game. But I'm here today to celebrate a man, a great friend of mine, whose vision didn't just shape a league. He helped establish the landscape of American soccer. Mark is not just the founder of MLS, he was the architect of a dream that America not only deserved a top-flight First Division men's professional soccer league, but one day that league would stand shoulder to shoulder with the top soccer leagues in the world. And at a time when belief was scarce and the path forward was really uncertain, Mark built the framework for a league that would turn possibility into progress and progress into permanence. As you saw in the video back in the 1990s, when the US was preparing to host the World Cup, FIFA required a promise, a commitment that we would establish a top-flight men's professional league. And that promise became a plan, and Mark Abbott, under the guidance of Alan Rothenberg, was the man who wrote that plan. Mark's impact on Major League Soccer is profound, and it's deeply foundational. As our first employee, he not only wrote the original business plan, giving structure to an idea that many people doubted would ever survive. His work laid the groundwork for everything that followed for the past 30 years. For more than 30 years, Mark played a central role in nearly every milestone in our history, from the launching of the league in '96 to leading to our restructuring during our earliest years and to managing expansion that brought the league to new cities and to new communities. Mark was instrumental in driving the soccer-specific stadium movement, ensuring that all of our clubs, like the facility here, had a permanent home and had a place to show long-term viability, cathedrals for the sport where we truly could honor the game. He created a legal and structural framework that governed team ownership and player contracts that were essential for a new league in a very, very uncertain market. That plan, that model, became required reading for almost every sports business or sports law class. It's hard to imagine that one person could have such a lasting impact on a professional sports league. But he not only helped build the foundation for the league, but his tireless devotion to the game also helped spur the growth of the sport overall here in our country. And most of all, as you'll see when he gets up here to speak, Mark is a man of deep commitment, deep conviction to simply being good, to doing what's right. He's kind, he's thoughtful, his work ethic is unmatched. He brought patience and conviction to every challenge. His reputation for integrity is defining. His respect and humility that he has in every relationship is something that everybody who knows Mark knows that it is his true beacon. As fate would have had it, the year I joined MLS in 1999 was the year that Mark stepped away from the league. The first call that I made was to introduce myself to Mark and ask him, please, to beg him actually, to come back to New York and help finish what he started. It was a turning point for MLS. The league was at a crossroads, and I needed a smart and trusted partner, someone with an unwavering belief in the league's future. Mark returned, not for the spotlight, but for the mission. And together with a group of dedicated staff, many of our founding employees are here today, along with a great committed ownership group like the Hunt family and terrific trusted partners. He helped guide MLS and during some of the most crucial years in our history, setting the stage for the growth and stability that we see today, with 30 teams, world-class stadiums, global stars, and fans packing venues throughout North America. 30 years of Mark Abbott, in essence, guiding the ship. Mark and I traveled the world together, met with every potential investor. Some, like Clark and Dan, that now own their teams for many, many decades. We lobbied cities and states to help support the development of soccer-specific stadiums. We started a soccer marketing company that for over 2 decades has raised the commercial value of the sport for the entire soccer ecosystem. And we built a staff that started with dozens that today has several hundred. We navigated the financial crisis, 9/11, the pandemic. We talked often about the importance of player development, of having programs to have our players continue their careers working for the league and for our clubs. Guys like Kenny Cooper, guys like Chris and Nick and Alexi. It is one of the most important things that I think MLS has done to support the game here in the United States. We talk politics, we talk literature, we talk history, we talk music, we talk sports, but mostly we talked about family. The family that we missed so deeply due to our commitment to growing the league. I know Mark will talk shortly about his wife, Marita, and his children, Madeline and Nick, his mom, and certainly about his dad. He has a deep commitment and a heartfelt love for his family, something that I always admired about you, Mark. Mark never sought the spotlight. He truly defines the expression, run silent and run deep. But the stadiums that we see, the teams that we cheer for, the league that so many of us proudly call our own, none of it exists without you, Mark. It truly is an honor to stand here today and induct my friend, my colleague, and truly one of the most influential figures in the history of the modern game here in our country, Mark Abbott, into the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Mark.
So, thank you, Don. Music. Okay. Thank you. It's, of course, very humbling to be included in a class that includes world-class athletes that have won Olympics, World Cups, MLS Cups. Nick and Chris and Carly and Mary, you exemplify the athletic excellence that has allowed you to not only compete, but be successful at the international level. And all of us in this room are in awe of what you did on the field. And congratulations on being inducted into the Hall of Fame. I am not a world-class athlete. I'm, being brought in the builder category. And the highlight, the peak of my athletic career was in 1977 when I was 12 years old. And the new Minnesota Kicks, the NASL team that had come to Minnesota, my dad had bought season tickets, and they hosted a statewide competition called the Dribble, Juggle, and Shoot, which is the sort of equivalent of the punt, pass, and kick for soccer. And I entered it. And by some astonishing luck, I won the 12-year-old category for the state of Minnesota. And for that, I was given this trophy, or this medal, which I'd like to thank my mom for keeping for almost 50 years so that we could show it here today. Now, it was not just a competition, but it was really my first exposure to the business of sports and sports marketing. The competition had been sponsored by McDonald's, and as the winner, I got a free Big Mac, which was great, but that's not the only thing that I got. They also gave each winner, I just broke it, sorry, Rita, this wonderful watch clock with Ronald McDonald. And Rita and I have just sold our house in Connecticut, and we were cleaning out the house and we found this, and Rita suggested, actually she demanded that I give this to the Hall of Fame. So we will not be bringing this back to Connecticut with us. It's very special for me to be inducted into buildings so closely associated with Lamar Hunt and the Hunt family. And people have talked already today about what Lamar Hunt meant. He was the most influential person, I think, in professional soccer in the United States in so many different ways. He was a friend of mine. He was a supporter of everything we tried at the league. He was the first person to commit to invest in the league. He built the first and third soccer-specific stadiums. So I don't think anybody had quite the impact that he had. And each of us were asked as inductees to contribute something to the hall for a year. And so my favorite possession from my time at the league is the original business plan that we sent to Lamar in 1993. And he sent back this very detailed memo with very detailed comments on each aspect of the plan. And it was really quite remarkable and helped us think through sort of the next steps. That's not the only thing, though, that I received from Lamar that I cherish. Lamar, some of you may know, had a select list of people that he would send a special Christmas present, the same Christmas present every year to. And I don't know how you got on the list. I got on in 2005. It was a big moment for me. And I got my first of these, and it's Lamar Hunt's fruitcake. And similarly, we were cleaning out the house, and remarkably, it's preserved over 20 years. So Rita also suggested that we donate this to the hall. So there's a lot of things to put in that display case now. As we mentioned, I've been inducted in the builder category. And literally, there are thousands, if not tens of thousands of people who have contributed to building our sport in this country and to building our league. Many of them are here today. Some are watching, I believe, on the stream. So I'm just going to mention a few. It begins with Alan Rothenberg, who had the original vision for what became Major League Soccer and took a chance on me when I was 28 years old to help him write the plan. And I'll be always grateful for that opportunity. It literally changed my life. Doug Logan, who was our first commissioner, had to navigate some very difficult challenges and moments in the first and early years of the league. Marla, who's here, who was part of our original startup team, and then went on to run the very successful 1999 Women's World Cup. Sunil spent decades toiling to build the national team program, was our first deputy commissioner, drove our early player strategy. I know Dan Flynn is here, who's a big part of what we did early and always a long supporter when he was with U.S. Soccer, and that's continued with Cindy and JT. And a number of my friends from the league, who I'm very thankful traveled to be with us here today. Todd, who has probably signed more players than anybody in the history of professional soccer throughout the world, and always had my back. There was a very sort of tense moment in one of our CBA negotiations where the lawyer for the other side for the union, and I would say a friend of mine, sort of said, "How does it feel that people think that you're an evil genius?" And I thought, well, I'm kind of 50-50 on that. But before I responded, Todd jumped in to defend me, and he said, "Mark is not an evil genius. I, Todd, am the evil genius." So Todd, thank you very much for taking the bullet on that one. Nelson, who always encouraged us to live a life of intentionality and to find and follow our true north. Sean, who has an incredible commitment to excellence and hard work that was constantly inspiring, and talents way beyond what he does in finance. Charles, who was a very important person for me for 10 years, a trusted and talented confidant, somebody I could and can always rely on. Gary, who brought new energy and new innovation and ideas that have really propelled a lot of our growth in the last decade. And of course, Don. Don spoke about our incredible partnership over the last 25 years. You know, Don came at a time that was very difficult in the history of the league. He navigated us out of a crisis and set a foundation for growth that we're still experiencing. And we would not be who we are without Don. I would also like to thank Clark and Dan. Clark and I are about the same age, and we started working on the league together. And the support of the Hunt family has been unwavering over those years. And also their partners in MLS, particularly Phil Anschutz and the Kraft family, who believed in us when very few did. It was mentioned, I am not a professor at Georgetown. I do teach a class at Georgetown, but I don't have that title. And the class begins with a basic premise that sports leagues are like governments. And through understanding how sports leagues operate and how they're governed, students can better understand political theory and some of the fundamental political questions that any society needs to answer. And we begin every class and every course, every semester, and I say, there's one basic question that every professional sports league, and I use MLS as an example, needs to answer, and indeed every society needs to answer. And that question is, what do we do together and what do we do apart? When can the majority curtail the rights of individuals? In a pluralistic society, how do we manage different conceptions of morality and the good life? When are we entitled to the fruits of our labor, and when do we share it with those that have helped us build a common prosperity? And unfortunately, the debates over those questions have led to our society now being polarized in a way that we haven't seen since the 1890s. And along with that rise in polarization has come a decline in the social institutions that used to allow us to meet our neighbors and to know people better than we do today. And unfortunately, we've become siloed, and to paraphrase from the famous book, we often are bowling alone. And I think sports has resisted this decline. I think we are perhaps the last and most vibrant institution that can allow us to get to know one another. I don't believe sports is a unifying force. In fact, at its best, I think sports divides us. But I do believe that it is an opportunity to talk to people and engage with them in ways that we might not otherwise do. And through that, we learn that they love their families, that they love their communities, and that they love their countries or their country. And often that love manifests itself in profoundly different ways. And sometimes it's so profound that we may not accept that it is actually love. But our only way forward is to continue to engage with those that we disagree And it is through that we come to understand them. And I believe the most important role that sports can play in our society is to play that role, and particularly our sport and particularly our league. I've said a number of times that I have led the most blessed of lives. My career, my friends, and most importantly, my family. My father would love to have been here today. It would have been an amazing experience for him. He started, as it was talked about in the video, the youth program in our town. He got us season tickets for the Kicks. And when we launched the league, if any newspaper dare write a critical article about the league or about me, he would write a letter to both the editor and to the writer who had written the article. So that was a bit of embarrassing, but he believed deeply in what I was doing. My mom is here. She is the original soccer mom. She made sure I got to practice on time, my uniforms were clean, and that I had a cup of tea waiting for me when I got home. So thank you, Mom. My brother is here, and my sister, I think, is watching on the live stream. They were part of that original youth soccer boom in the 70s and early 80s. I have such fond memories of driving in our family station wagon to the various soccer fields where we had our games. We're usually lying down in the back. This is in an era before we realized that children should wear seatbelts when they're in cars. My children are here, Madeline and Nicholas's girlfriend, Lauren. They have been on the journey all the way along. Madeline, I think, could get a PhD in sports business. She's listened to literally hundreds of conference calls about what we're doing here in the league, and probably heard more than she would care to acknowledge. And Nicholas has a knowledge of the league, its players, and key moments that I could never match. And of course, Marita. I met Marita at law school on our first date. After about 45 minutes, she said, "How is it that you know everything?" And this was not a compliment. And so thankfully, she looked through those flaws and chose to partner with me in our lives, in raising our family, and all that we've done over the last almost 40 years together. So thank you, Rita. I had a cool job, and I got to do a lot of really cool things. But the thing I think I always appreciated the most was the part of being part of a community of players, of referees, of journalists, of broadcasters, of team and league staff, of team owners, and of fans. And that community had a common objective of trying to make our league as successful as it could be. And I'm truly honored that this community and members of it selected me for induction into the Hall of Fame. And it's an honor I will always cherish. So thank you.
Mark, again, congratulations. Mrs. Abbott over there, Mark, you guys have a problem. It's called hoarding. We can sort this out. We can get you some help immediately, maybe during this intermission. Nobody thought that Mark Abbott was the carrot top of the U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame, but that's why you're here. That's why you're here live on Saturday. Again, the stealth MVP of the weekend, Mark Abbott. Congratulations. We are going to take a quick intermission. Some of you have already jumped on that. Please, we ask you to be back in your seats in roughly 10 minutes so that we can continue to honor the class of 2025. All right, we're back. How we doing over there at the Gallagher Club? I know it's tough to walk away from an open bar, but if you could please take your seats as we get ready to continue honoring the members of the class of 2025. 3 more to go, and our next inductee is kind of the OG out here today, a world champion whose legacy and importance to not just the game of soccer, but the global sports landscape right now, it extends far beyond her days minding the goal for the U.S. women's national team. On the field, Mary Harvey, known for her .65 goals against average in 27 international appearances. Fact check, is that right? I'm sure we got it fact checked. All right. She recorded 3 shutouts for the U.S. women's national team as they brought the first Women's World Cup trophy home in 1991. Remind me, who was the coach of that team in 1991? Who could it be? Banger. Yeah, he's got a mouthful of cake. Anson Dorrance. It's all about timing in this business, man. I know when to hit them. I'm so sharp. So on today. Great job, Rob. Off the field, she has held top roles at FIFA and with women's professional soccer. She's also the first female recipient of U.S. Soccer's Werner Fricker Builder Award. And when we speak of legacy, this is the kind of thing that we are talking about. Harvey not only established the U.S. Soccer Athletes Council, but also in those early years invited a young Cindy Parlow, CP, to her first governance role in sport, and she has not looked back. She just loves being in charge of everything. Madam President, great smile. So please turn your attention to the screens for more on the wonderful career of Mary Harvey.
The growth of women's soccer in America can be traced back to one key moment, the 1991 FIFA Women's World Cup, and the U.S. women's national team's triumph halfway around the globe in China. The woman between the posts for the red, white, and blue for that first global tournament was goalkeeper Mary Harvey. A native of Palo Alto, California, Harvey played on club and high school soccer teams, but it was at the University of California at Berkeley where her talent and her toughness were on full display. Her name is all over the record books at Cal, with Harvey tops in career saves, saves in a game, saves in a season, and clean sheets in both a single game and over a career. But when she graduated from Cal, she faced the same issue almost all players of her day faced. For women, there weren't many opportunities to continue playing. So she gave up the game she loved, put her business degree to work, and got a day job. That job would take her to Frankfurt, Germany, where she joined a local club team. 1 year later, the Women's Bundesliga launched, and FSV Frankfurt took the pitch with American Mary Harvey in goal. At the German Women's Cup final in 1990, her saved penalty led FSV to a 1-0 win over Bayern Munich, with 75,000 fans looking on. And when new head coach Anson Dorrance needed to pick a keeper for that first Women's World Cup, he called on Harvey. She played every single minute, leading the USA to 3 clean sheets and 6 wins on their way to the championship. She remained on the team through 1996 and was on the U.S. squad that earned the first ever Olympic gold medal in women's soccer at the 1996 Games in Atlanta. Harvey's national team career ended later that year, and while it was brief, her accomplishments set the standard for future American keepers, men and women. Her career record of 21 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss puts her near the top of any list of this country's best shot stoppers. From 1992 to 2003, Harvey served on the U.S. Soccer Board of Directors and Executive Committee and founded and organized the U.S. Soccer Athletes Council, representing the voices of athletes in U.S. soccer. Harvey would later be awarded the Werner Fricker Builders Award in 2017 by U.S. Soccer for her service to the federation. Eventually, her career would take her back to sport as an administrator, becoming the first woman to join the senior executive ranks at FIFA in 2003, serving as the chief operating officer for women's professional soccer in 2009, and as part of the team for the successful United bid to bring the 2026 FIFA World Cup to North America. Mary continues to be a difference maker on a global scale, helping impact the lives of others in a real and meaningful way. Mary Harvey, like many of her colleagues, led the way for women's soccer, making opportunities for herself where there were none, and making the most of every opportunity she could. And in 2025, Mary Harvey was inducted into the National Soccer Hall of Fame.
Table 6, those are some awesome pictures up there, huh? Like somebody did some digging through the archives to get those up. Oh, wow, the smile on my face is so sincere and pure. It was so cool. Oh my God, little Brandy Chastain and Michelle running around. Oh, amazing. All right, stop talking, Rob. Please welcome National Soccer Hall of Famer, somebody who knows how to talk, Julie Foudy, to present Mary for induction here into the National Soccer Hall of Fame.
Oh, so good. The mullets. Mia's party in the front, business in the back. It was the wrong way, I said. Got to go the other way around. So thrilled to be here and so damn thrilled to be honoring my friend, my teammate, the one and only, the amazing, crazy, brilliant Mary Harvey. And over the years, we had a lot of nicknames for Harvina. Mary, quite contrary, butt naked Harv. I don't know if you know about this one, because Harv had this penchant for just wearing a small towel in the locker room, and we were like, dude, what are you doing? And she had this like shining white skin that was just like, whoa, it was almost traumatizing. It was like, she's a Harv, come on. So we would always say, simmer it down, Harv, in the locker room. So many stories. And as we know, and as we've seen today, you know, the players that come up here that are honored are here for what they do on the field as ballers. And absolutely, Harv did a ton of that. As we know, she won the first ever Women's World Cup, as you just saw in the video, won the first ever Olympics for women's soccer in 1996. But there is absolutely no doubt that Harv's legacy with the U.S. women's national team, in our mind as teammates, is not just what she did as a player, but obviously she is considered, and her impact is as one of the architects and the original architects. They say OGs, she's an OA. She's an original architect for the team's culture because, as you know, Harv fiercely believed in that we have a duty as athletes to make sport a really positive force in this world. And she believed that with everything she did. She preached to us that sport is transformative, that sport can shape society. We had a duty to make sure that we shaped it for the good. And that is Harv, as you all know, to the core. And this woman just didn't preach it. She lived it. As you saw in the video, again, she spent over 11 years serving on all these different boards. She served on the U.S. Soccer Federation board. She was on their executive committee, U.S. OC Athlete Council, which she founded, U.S. Soccer Foundation board. You get it. She was a baller. And she was hired by FIFA to become its director of development. First ever woman, first ever American hired by that international body to lead a division, helping, among other things, build out the women's game, build out women at FIFA. I think she deserves another gold medal just for that alone, actually. And Harv led, as we talked about, the actual development of the human rights strategy for the 2026 FIFA World Cup bid, which, as we also know, we got baller again. She is currently the chief executive of the Center for Sport and Human Rights, which aptly as it's named is a human rights organization for the world of sport. And as Harv so perfectly reflected the other day to me, she said, you know, when I look back on it, nearly all of my roles were ones where sport was at the service of social purpose. And that's exactly it for Harv. All of my roles were ones where sport was at the service of social purpose. And as Stoner mentioned up here, when Cindy came on the national team when she was 17 years old, Cindy was telling the story recently, and Harv, so 17-year-old Cindy, Harv turned to her and said, get in the car. And Cindy was like, wait, what? She's like, get in the car. And so Cindy calls it kidnapping. She's like, Harv kidnapped me, threw me in the car, and I'm this young teenager on the national team. I have no idea what's happening. And Lori Fair, another young athlete, is also in the car. And Cindy goes on to say that, Harv explained, well, I'm taking you somewhere. I'm going to tell you in a second, but you are going to experience something that I think you need to see. Well, where they were going was an athletes council meeting. And the power of this is in that Harv was taking these two young athletes, teenagers on the national team, and she was taking them to a meeting where they were gathering to talk about governance. They were talking about what athletes can do to leave the sport in a better place, of course. And Harv explained to them that it became clear to her that athletes had been given a voice at the table thanks to Amateur Sports Act, Title IX, but that they weren't using that voice. And her mission as a teammate, as one of our OAs of the national team, was she was going to teach them to understand the power of their voice. But the best part about all this is not that they just had a voice, but that you had a responsibility and a duty to use it for good. And Harv did admit that she had no idea that it was the future Madam President that was in her car that day that she kidnapped her. But I think we can all agree that we're so damn thankful that she did. Because what she did is she showed Cindy and Lori that being an athlete came with great responsibility. And the amazing thing now is that you have a women's national team, and Carly knows this so well, where generation after generation, they understand the power of using their voice. And not just using your voice, but using your voice in large part because of Harv and what she taught us to change the sport for good for others. And that is a core of the DNA of the U.S. women's national team. Thanks to half-naked, butt-naked Harvina. Okay, Harv, before we cloak you in your cape, of course, I had to ask some of your past teammates if they wanted to share some things about Harv and pass on some congratulations. And I had to cut it down for time. I don't even have a running clock. Am I already at 0? Shit. Shoot. Sorry, there's kids in the audience. So first up, I'll give them all to you in their full extent later. Brandi Chastain, you might have heard of her. She got naked after scoring that penalty kick in the '99 World Cup. Mary Harvey was the first goalkeeper I remember who would not only scare the opponent, but scare her teammates as well. She was way ahead of her time, and she coined one of the team's favorite sayings we used long after she left. And this is typical Harv. Whenever you were playing Germany, for example, Harv would walk in and she'd say, "It's a bad day to be German," right? Norway, "It is a bad day to be Norwegian." And to this day, we still use that for whatever we do whenever we're together. So Brandi says, "Congrats, Harv, so well deserved, my friend." Carla Overbeck, our longtime captain for so long, said, "I know you will talk about the way she pranced around the locker room in her towel while blinding everyone with her extremely white skin." Check. I did that, Captain Carla. What she did for our sport after her playing career ended was immeasurable. Thank you, Harv. Mia Hamm. I cut this one down. It was long. "I love how she continues to advocate and protect others as part of her life's work. We love you, Harv." Saskia Weber, goalkeeper. "Her consistent pursuit of excellence is something I adopted into my game and helps guide me into the keeper I became. I love you, Harv. Congratulations." And the thing I keep going back to, Harv, is that this was a time when you were playing where athletes didn't understand that they had a voice. Athletes didn't understand their role in governance. They didn't understand that they had a seat at the table that they could use, not just as a voice, but as I said, a power for good. And this woman, with her courageous, witty, smart, brilliant way. Did it on the field, but I think most impressively, what you did off the field to build our culture, to build our team, to build our U.S. women's national team into what it is today, you are the original architect of that. And it gives me so much pleasure to be able to honor you in this way and bring you up here. And it's poetic justice. A Stanford Cardinal gets to put a red jacket on a Cal Bear. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't wait to see you in red. Get on up here, Mary Harvey.
Wow. I was waiting for the Stanford call out, and it happened at the end. That's amazing, Jules. Thank you, Jules, for the amazing introduction. I love you, sister. I'd also like to thank the Veterans Committee for your support and this recognition. Anson, I'm just glad you guys didn't wait too much longer, or else anyone who had any memory of me playing with me would start dying off. So, I mean, got right under the wire there. I also want to thank my fellow inductees, Chris, Nick, Mark, and Carly, for all you have done in your own ways to grow this beautiful game in this country. I mean, indelible, incredible builders. And thank you so much for everything you've done for the game. I want to thank those at the Hall of Fame for making this occasion possible for my family, both the one that I was born into and the one I'm part of today. My siblings and their partners, and my nieces and nephews, my 3 adult children, their partners, and our grandchildren, with another on the way. It is particularly meaningful for me to be able to share this honor with them because much of what I did back then, I mean, I'm surprised actually it was in color, was done out of the spotlight, right? And it didn't have any of the visibility that it has today. So my family knew that I did this stuff way back when, but they couldn't see it. They couldn't experience it, right? And so to be able to come here and have what happened way back then animated through roasts, stories of what happened or didn't happen in the locker room to, just what it was like back then. Really the only way to animate it is through stories and through, black and white photos and things like that. But it's such a gift for me to be able to share that with my family because otherwise I don't think I would know how to share it with them. And finally, I want to thank Sandy, who shares with me a life and a family that I thought I'd never have. I love them dearly, and I'm grateful for them every day. Excuse me. It's a bit surreal to receive this recognition after all this time. I played in the 1991 FIFA Women's World Cup 34 years ago, a lifetime ago. But those 8 years that I spent with the U.S. women's team left an imprint on me for a lifetime. It was a very different game back then. Imagine being selected for a World Cup. I want every player here to imagine this. Imagine being selected for a World Cup, playing in a World Cup, winning on a World Cup, and really no one knowing about it. Right? Can you imagine that? What that would be like, feel like? Games back then were few and far between, and certainly rarely televised. We wore the men's uniforms and were asked to return them after the 1991 World Cup, which no one did, of course. We received a per diem of $10 a day, and for winning the World Cup, I got a handshake and a bonus of $1,800 from US Soccer. The thought of making a living by playing was so thoroughly out of the question. You just retired and went to work, or you retired and went to school and then went back to work, because we were all broke. And then life after starts, right? The second chapter. But the learnings from that experience as a member of that team live within you and are inside you every day. I'd like to share some of those with you now. Anson, my first coach on the national team. And Anson, I saw and learned courage. Anson had the courage to make decisions that perhaps weren't popular, but they were his to make, and he made them. And in doing so, won a World Cup. Thanks to you, Anson, for giving me a chance to prove myself, for believing in me. I also learned from you the power of inspiration. Somehow, in an event that had never before been staged, to a team that hadn't won anything internationally, you managed to convince every single one of us to a person that we were going to go out and win the whole damn thing. Even when we were tied going into the final of the Women's World Cup, late into the Women's World Cup, every one of us was convinced, knew, in fact, that we were going to win the whole thing. How do you get people to do that? To just have that fundamental belief that they're going to do something great. That's just amazing, Anson, that you were able to draw that and bring that into all of us. Later in life, I've drawn upon that example in teams that I've led, particularly when we're going through tough times. And I know it's how you move from being good to being great. I know it because I've lived it. Thank you, Anson. Tony DeChico. From Tony, I also saw courage. Courage to take apart something that wasn't working and remake it 11 months later to win the first Olympic gold medal in women's soccer. Tony challenged all of us to ask what we were doing on a daily basis to contribute to the team and to help the team win. In Tony, I also saw an incredible human being, a man who loved his family and was an inspiration just for his compassion. Thank you, Tony, for hanging in there through all the injuries and for giving me the gift of being an Olympian. To Diane and all of your children, thank you for sharing him with us. Tony, you left us way too soon, and I miss you. To my team captains, Carla, April, and Julie, thank you for giving me kind roommates who didn't want to murder me in my sleep. You know what I'm talking about. I learned so much about your leadership and inspiring others, and I draw on that every day in the teams I now lead. Imagine, for those of you who are in that position, being able to see on a daily basis the power of inspirational leadership. I got a front row seat to that. People don't want to be commanded, directed, or reprimanded. They want to be challenged, encouraged, and above all, inspired. I learned that the national team is about excellence. It's about being the best you can be and the best teammate you can be, and about doing incredible things together. Today, I challenge people on the teams that I manage to develop an awareness about how what they say and what they do impacts everyone around them and their ability to perform. Thanks to all of you, Jules, Carla, April. Thanks to you, that sense in me is as natural as breathing. And finally, Cindy, or CP as she's known to all of us, from that shy 17-year-old who never spoke, whose locker was next to mine for 2 years in Florida, and apparently I am sorry for terrifying you, I didn't mean to. I'm just in awe of the leader that you've become. It's been mentioned, the athlete council meeting that was mentioned, we were the only country in the world where athletes had a seat at the table, and no other country in the world did athletes, by law, have a seat at the table to exercise that right. And I didn't know at that time that I was putting the future president of US Soccer into the car, but I'm so glad I did. Everything you've accomplished is entirely due to you and the leader you are. I'm just proud to have played a small part in what has been an amazing journey that you're still on, I might add. On the path that I've chosen in life after playing, the fingerprints of my experience with the U.S. women's team are all over it. I'd like to share a little bit of that with you. During the time I was part of the team, as Julie mentioned, we were forming its DNA and its culture. Along with grit, resilience, unbelievable competitiveness, and commitment to physical preparation, there was a strong sense of shared purpose to improving our working conditions. You see, even back then, it was more than just playing. It was always more about just playing. It was about leaving things better than where you found them, so that those who came after you wouldn't have to go through the same things we did. Since then, we've seen that same sense of purpose with every generation of players moving the ball down the field further and further. What started with basic asks back then in my time, such as childcare support for players with very young children, led to a players' union that negotiated a collective bargaining agreement that achieved equal pay. So in life after sport, when I went back into corporate roles, I realized I was missing. There was a big hole in my life. And that eventually led me to leading nonprofits where sport was at the service of social purpose. In 2019, I found my true calling, and that is leading an international organization with a mission that so clearly resonated with my experience in sport as a member of the U.S. women's team, and that it looked at how sport could be a better, more equitable version of itself. Because there's a gap between the promise and the reality of sport for many. That organization is called the Center for Sport and Human Rights. We often hear that sport can change the world, and that sport and the power of sport can change lives, and I believe it can. But sport itself isn't a panacea. I saw in my own life and career how sport can indeed deliver on its social license and be a power for good and be a positive force in human empowerment. I'm among the often cited Ernst & Young statistic that 94% of female C-suite executives played sport. But the fact that I had a positive experience was luck. Luck? Why luck? Because I never experienced harm during my time as a competitive athlete. I never faced someone who took advantage of the vulnerability and the power imbalance that athletes sometimes are in and on the wrong side of when they participate in sport at multiple levels. For sport to deliver on its promise for all of us, it must be free from harm. As someone who didn't experience harassment, violence, or other forms of abuse, I do feel a strong sense of duty to work on behalf of those who did, and in doing so, help sport become a better version of itself. Sport is one of society's great social inventions and has so much to offer us all, and clearly it has left an indelible positive imprint on my life and led me to a career path dedicated to the impact and purpose that I never expected. And part of that journey has been to be, and continue to be, an agent of change. Make it better for those who come after you, which is what we said way back then. I think the great Jane Goodall put it best when she said, "It actually doesn't take much to be considered a difficult woman. That's why there's so many of us." One person's difficult woman is another person's hero getting into good trouble, necessary trouble, as the great John Lewis would say. My heroes have always been those who are willing to do just that. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, John Lewis, and Mary Robinson, former president of Ireland. I had the great privilege of being able to work with and learn from Mary, Ireland's first female president and current chair of the elders, and she's a force of nature. I also like to thank not only my fellow inductees, but a couple of people who also had a very important role in my journey, particularly when things got really, really hard with injuries. And that was Alan Rothenberg and Sunil Gulati. And there was a time in my career where I was broke, I was injured, and if I wanted to get back on the field and become an Olympian, I somehow had to make it work. And Alan gave me a job at World Cup '94, and Sunil, when I was finally able to start training again and get back on the field, found a way to give me a small amount of money that allowed me to basically get back and inside the locker room after being hurt for 2 years. So I want to just acknowledge those incredible accomplishments or impacts that had I not had them would have been very, very difficult to overcome. So this induction, some 30 years in the making, is dedicated to those willing to get into good trouble. Thank you very much for this incredible honor. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mary. Kidnapping, cool. Yep. Half naked. Foudy, like we talking like this kind of towel, or like bigger, smaller washcloth? What? Just over the arm? I'll work with that visual through the rest of the day. All right. While the Hall of Fame is an exclusive club that grows by 5 members this year, the Hall of Fame Goalkeepers Union is a super exclusive club within the club, and they add 2 members today. All right, we just had Mary. All right, there are typically 2 paths to becoming a goalkeeper. All right, number 1, it's in your blood. It's the position that you play because you have a side of psycho. Right? I don't care what you're going to say. Goalkeepers are different. You know it, Mary. I thought you were normal. You're not normal anymore. This guy over there is normal, but man, there's something different about goalkeepers. That's why I was content to be in the midfield. I'm not diving at that dude's foot. I don't need that thing rocketing at my head. God bless the goalies. All right. And the second path is that ultimate teammate that has to step in when somebody gets injured and you're stuck in the goal and you're good enough that you're there for the rest of the season and you can't get out of it. And you wanted to be a fullback and you wanted to be a forward. You want to score goals. And you're like, I'm stuck in goal because I'm good. So the latter scenario is what played out for Mary when she was in high school. It's also how our next inductee first put on the gloves one fateful day when he was 10 years old. We all know how that worked out for the great Nick Rimando over there. We take a look now at Nick's journey to the Hall of Fame.
Major League Soccer has featured some of the game's great goalkeepers. Names like Miola, Keller, Friedel, and Howard. But look at the record books, and it's clear that one name stands alone as the league's best and most consistent shot stopper, Nick Rimando. Born in Montclair, California, soccer was Rimando's first love from an early age. He played all 4 years on the Montclair High School soccer team, earning All-American and All-Star honors. He also featured for the U.S. under-17, under-18, and under-20 national teams and played in the under-17 FIFA World Cup. At the college level, Rimando was a standout in goal for the UCLA Bruins. As a freshman, he helped the team lift the 1997 NCAA Division I championship trophy. Then, after 2 years at UCLA, he left to join Major League Soccer's Project 40 team. 1 year later, he was drafted by the Miami Fusion in the MLS Super Draft. In his first year, the Fusion earned the 2001 Supporter Shield. When the Fusion folded, Rimando found a home at DC United, where he helped his new club win MLS Cup in 2004. And while he had already won trophies and titles, Nick Rimando's MLS story truly began in December 2006 when he was traded to Real Salt Lake. He would become nothing less than a club legend, and he would rewrite the league record books. In 2009, Rimando and RSL fought their way into the playoffs, an unlikely feat for a club with a losing record. Then the club went on a playoff run that ended with a trip to the MLS Cup final, where they met LA Galaxy. After 120 minutes of soccer, the two teams finished tied at 1. And the cup final went to penalty kicks. With the trophy on the line, Rimando saved 2 of the Galaxy's penalties. His performance earned him MVP honors and etched his name in club and league history. Over the course of a 20-year career in MLS, Rimando won 223 games and posted 154 clean sheets. He played in a total of 46,336 minutes over 514 games and made 1,712 saves. All of these are Major League Soccer records. In 2009, he was chosen to the MLS Best 11. Rimando was also a 6-time MLS All-Star, and to this day, he remains a beloved figure to RSL fans everywhere. They called him the Wall of the Wasatch, a nickname that Rimando earned over his 12 incredible years in Utah. Rimando also made 22 appearances for the U.S. men's national team and helped lead the team to the title at the 2013 CONCACAF Gold Cup. He was also part of the squad that represented the USA in Brazil at the 2014 FIFA World Cup. Since retiring in 2019, Rimando has continued to share his love of the game, working as the goalkeeping coach for the Real Salt Lake Academy, as well as the Real Monarchs of MLS Next Pro. At just 5 foot 10 inches, he may not have stood as tall as the typical goalkeeper, but his agility, his ability to read the game, and his never quit attitude made him a brick wall in goal and an MLS icon. And in 2025, Nick Rimando was inducted into the National Soccer Hall of Fame.
$5'10", huh? Well, that makes me 5'11" then, pal. I don't know about that. I don't know about the 5'10". Where's my tables? Tables 18, 19. Team Rimando, we ready for this one? All right, please welcome Rich Best, Nick's friend and mentor, to present him for induction into the National Soccer Hall of Fame.
5'9", 5'10", tomato. I am so honored and privileged and truly humbled to be here today to induct my friend and truly one of the greatest American goalkeepers to ever play the game, my dear friend, Nick Rimando. When Nick called and asked me if I would be his presenter into the induction, I said I'd be honored, but are you sure of me, brother? And I wasn't a coach. I wasn't a former teammate. And he laughed. Yeah, I'm sure. He said, you know the real me. I'm a big believer that God puts people in your life right when you need him. And Nick was that for me. I met Nick almost 18 years ago after receiving a call from a music agent who happened to live in Salt Lake City. I'm a concert promoter, so it was not unusual for her to call. Only this time it wasn't for business. Instead, she said, hey, I have a favor. One of our hometown heroes, a goalkeeper for Real Salt Lake, would love to see Coldplay at the Honda Center. And literally without skipping a beat, I said, Nick Rimando? And she was like, how did you know this? And I said, oh, well, I'm a soccer fanatic and my daughter is a keeper. So of course I got Nick the tickets. What I didn't know at that time is Nick would go on to be one of my best friends, a friendship based on a love of our families, the love of a game, and a deep love for music. In the years that followed, I saw Nick, just what a remarkable player he was, and but even more so, just what a truly beautiful person he was, and kind and selfless person. Quick story. My daughter went on to play collegiate soccer at Fresno State. Her junior year, she tore her ACL and she was devastated. I was a mess and didn't know how to support. And I called Nick. He was my first call. And Nick did what Nick does. He calmed me down. And then he went into gear, calling her all the time, checking in, building her up, making her feel strong. And out of the blue, she gets 2 texts from Tim Howard, pumping her up. And then a few hours later, Brad Guzan, pumping her up and building her up. And that's just what Nick did. You know, he always went the extra mile for people, for his teammates, for his friends, for his family. By the way, both my kids wore number 18. A 10-year-old still wears number 18. The player, that speaks for itself. Definitely 5'9". Those stats are why many call him the GOAT. He made the impossible look, routine. Stop after stop, PK save after PK save. He delivered always in the biggest moments. His importance to the game remains so profound today. As a coach, his work in the community, so inspiring. Nick, with all those accolades, is the last person that would ever shine the light on himself. He's always so humble. Whenever I'd call him after a game or shoot him a text, like, brother, you played out of your mind. Like, he would be like, it's my team in front of me. What he does shine a light on is his family and his 2 children specifically, Benny Rose and Jet. No words how much he loves you. Randy, you are the great love of his life. We talk often about the people in our lives that make us better. Mr. and Mrs. Rimando, you raised not only just a great soccer player, but raised a good man. Nick's love for his family and friends are what makes him happiness. It is such an honor and a privilege to stand here today. I am truly humbled to have this opportunity, and I think I speak for the soccer community. Thank you, and thank you for your friendship. Means the world to me, and it means the world to a lot of players in the past and in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, class of 25 inductee, Nick Rimando.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Yep, I have to wear glasses now. I wrote a little something. I'll try to keep it under 10 minutes. I think I timed it and it's like right there. So thank you. I'm honored and so grateful for this award today. First, thank you to the Hall of Fame committee and all the voters. I'd like to thank my class, congratulate them, Chris, Carly, Mary, and Mark. You're tremendous athletes, stewards of the game, and role models in so many ways. When I got the news I was being inducted to the Hall of Fame, it wasn't all the sacrifice, the hard work, the games, the records. It was the thought of standing up here and trying to give a speech in front of you. So bear with me, I get emotional. I was thinking, when does this journey start for me? And it starts with rejection. When I was 11 years old, I tried out for the ODP team in my Southern California district, and I didn't make it. The one player on the team that didn't make it. I was frustrated, confused, discouraged. I felt lost in a game I loved so much, but my parents and peers pushed me, built me up, and encouraged me to keep going. 34 years later, I'm standing right here celebrating one of the most recognizable accomplishments. Today, I will take my time to thank and acknowledge a few people that made this accomplishment possible. Rich, I appreciate the kind words. I know you have a busy schedule and should be somewhere around the world, touring, packing stadiums, or even signing the next big artist. I appreciate your time and being here today. You've been such an incredible mentor to me, someone I look up to so much. You've not only taught me valuable lessons in life, but you also shown me what it means to be a true family man. We've been through some challenging times together, and through it all, your guidance and your friendship has been pivotal in my growth as a father, friend, and partner. To my club, RSL, thank you for believing in me back in 2007. It was a rocky start, but we found a way to win, fight, and bring a soccer culture to Utah. Your loyalty to me does not go unnoticed, as I hope my commitment to you feels the same. John Kimball is in attendance tonight, president of RSL and dear friend. If there's one man that truly bleeds the colors of our club, it's him. The respect and attention this man receives from his peers is unmatched. I appreciate your friendship, honesty, and commitment to making RSL not only a top club, but in the community. To my coaches, I want to take a moment to sincerely thank each of you for pushing me, believing in me, trusting me, and guiding me throughout my journey. From day one, you saw something in me that others didn't. It definitely wasn't my size. I was different, but you believed in my potential and helped shape me into a player and person I am today. There's a few that I'd like to name that have been instrumental in my success. Bill Schwartz, Ziggy Schmidt, Ray Hudson, Jason Kreis, Bruce Arena, Jürgen Klinsmann, Drew Leonard, Dr. Joe Macknick, Tony DeChico, Peter Miller, Dave Vanoli, and Jeff Kassar. You were more than just coaches, you were my mentors, and your faith in me made all the difference. Thank you for helping me reach this point and for always challenging me to be better. Ziggy Schmidt's son's here, Kurt, is in attendance tonight. I know your dad could be here if he could. He was a tremendous man. He pushed me, challenged me. Through our tough love relationship, he prepared me for the next level. He created such an amazing competitive environment at UCLA that gave us all the tools to succeed on and off the field. To my teammates, you know who you are. Thank you for every push, every word of encouragement, every ounce of trust you gave me throughout the years. This game has given me so much, but the brotherhood we built, that's the part I'll carry with me forever. The locker room is a sacred place. It's where we laughed, battled, disagreed, grew, and always came back together. It's where friendships were forged, not just through the wins and losses, but in the grind, in the quiet moments before a big game, and in the chaos after a big win. I cherish it all. My agent's flight was canceled coming from London, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say a thank you to Lyle Yorks for your incredible support. You've been there for me, not just as a professional guiding me through the highs and lows of my career, but as someone I could trust. Your dedication to my success, both on and off the field, has made a huge difference in my life. To my friends, thank you for all making it out to Texas. It means so much to me. Each one of you has played such an important role in shaping who I am today and your support means the world to me. I have such an incredible group of guys I not only call my friends, but my brothers. You always made time for me, whether it was supporting me on the field, at the Ville, or being there for me through the obstacles of life. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. You've been a constant in my life, and I'm lucky to have you by my side. To my kids, Jet and Benny Rose, I stand here today with so much love and gratitude in my heart, and I owe it all to you. You've been with me through this journey, and I want to take this moment to thank you. Thank you for your patience, your understanding, and your unwavering support. There were times when I wasn't there for every game, every event, or every little moment that I would have loved to be a part of. But everything I did, all the hard work, the sacrifices, it was for you. I wanted to give you the greatest love I could and show you what it means to work hard, chase your dreams, and strive for more. I hope now that you're older, you can see that all the missed moments were with the goal of creating a better future for you both. I love you more than words can express, and I want you to know how proud I am of you. It's been an honor watching you grow into an amazing young man and a beautiful, smart young woman. I want nothing more than for you to be the best versions of yourself, follow your hearts, follow your passions, and know that I'll always be there to help in any way, whether it's advice, guidance, or just being dad in the stands. This moment is as much yours as it is mine. I love you both more than you could ever know. Randy, I want to express my deepest gratitude to you for your constant support from the time we met. You've been there by my side, cheering me on during the highs and holding me up during the lows, whether it was the euphoria of a big win or the challenges of a tough loss. You've been there. You've been an enduring source of strength and love. You've not only supported me through the roller coaster of my playing career, but you stepped into a role of a stepmom with grace and dedication that has left me in awe. You've loved and cared for the kids as if they're your own, creating a home filled with warmth, laughter, and love. I can't express how much you mean to me. When the time came to transition out of soccer, you stood by me, patient and understanding, giving me the space I needed to find my new path. Even though the uncertainties and my sometimes crazy ideas, you've always believed in me, supported me in every way possible. Your faith in me has given me the strength to grow and become a better version of myself. I'm so incredibly lucky to have you by my side, and I will forever be grateful for all your love, care, and patience you've shown me. Mom and Dad, thank you truly for your sacrifice, for every sacrifice you've made to help me get where I am and prepare me for everything still to come. From day one, you taught me that while school and chasing your dreams is important, nothing matters more than knowing where you come from and that the family always comes first. Dad, thank you for instilling in me the value of hard work, dedication, and the importance of time. Whether it was staying disciplined in my craft or simply showing up early, your example set the foundation for everything I do. I'll never forget you pulling out the Thomas guide the night before every game, plotting every turn like we were going on a cross-country trip. And of course, when we finally got there, it wasn't me my teammates were waiting for. It was my mom's famous burritos. Mom, thank you for letting me spread my wings. I know it wasn't easy. It feels like yesterday when you were hesitant to let me go on that trip to France for my first national team experience. Your baby didn't have a passport, but he had a dream. And you did everything in your power to keep that road open for me. We didn't come from much, but I was rich in love, support, and belief. That made all the difference. I carry everything you've given me, your sacrifices, your lessons, your love with me every single day, and I'm proud of where I come from because I come from you. I'd like to dedicate this award to the man who has such a profound impact in my life, my Grandpa Paul. Nearly 2 years ago, we lost someone truly special. And as time goes on, I found myself reflecting more and more on the lessons he taught me and the memories we shared. Grandpa wasn't just a family figure, he was my coach in so many ways. Ultimate chauffeur, my biggest supporter, and bank at some times. From a young age, he's instilled in me the importance of sportsmanship, teamwork, to live life to the fullest, and the drive to always give my best. He had a way of pushing me that was never overbearing, but always encouraging. Whether it was on the field or off, he knew how to challenge me to be better, to work harder, and to believe in myself. He always wanted me to be the Dodgers catcher one day. Not because I was great at baseball, but because he loved the Dodgers. But despite his efforts to steer me toward baseball, soccer ended up being the sport I connected with. He didn't mind though. He was just happy that I found something that I loved. He supported me no matter what, and I know if he could have, he would have been there, cheering me on from the stands at every game, whether it was behind the goal or behind the plate. He may no longer be here physically, but his spirit, his lessons, and his love lives on with me every day. I will forever be grateful for the way he shaped me and for the memories we shared both on and off the field. Grandpa, I think we did okay. To the next generation, fight for what you want. Work hard relentlessly. And never let anyone define your limits. People will doubt you. Some will try to tear you down. Let them. Use it. Let the doubt be your fuel, not your ceiling. Believe in your journey, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because that's where greatness is built. I'm not in comfort, but in the grind, in the resilience, and in the refusal to quit. I stand here today, not because of the games or the records I played, but because I never stopped believing through the setbacks, the noise, and the rejection. If my story says anything, let it be this: you are always more than what they say you are. Lastly, I'd just like to recognize a couple people. My brother Marcus made it out, Nancy, Rob, my Aunt Terry, and Nene. You guys have been supportive of me with everything I've done, so I appreciate you guys being here. My best friend Tad lives here and opened up his house and is hosting this weekend, so I appreciate you, man. And then also, I know if they were healthy, Rick and Sherry would be here. I want them to know that we're thinking of them and we wish them both a healthy and fast recovery. I'm so honored to receive this award today. Thank you.
You did it, man. You got through it, Nick. Good job, bud. Even with the glasses, pretty damn good. Team Rimando, barbecue. You're on the clock. We're almost there, all right? Just a quick update. I didn't get the address last night, so if you want to text it to me later, that's totally cool. Me and Alexi are free later for anything. Congrats, man. That's awesome, Nick. Really happy for you. Really happy for you. A lot of people may not know. Nick knows. Mary knows. There's this little clock down here. And it's on a timer. It's absolutely useless. It's 15 minutes, and you guys should talk as long as you want. But they were instructed. They were asked, try to hit this 15-minute window. So 15 minutes it can be a lot, but in today's instance, it's brief. It's not a lot of time. But in the case of our final inductee today, the great Carly Lloyd, she showed that 15 minutes and 3 seconds is enough time to cement your legacy as a U.S. women's national team hero, also as one of the game's greatest players. We're referring to that hat trick back in 2015 in Vancouver, FIFA Women's World Cup final, 3 goals that clinched the first World Cup title for the U.S. in 16 years. But those were just 3 goals in a 17-year professional and international career. Watch now to learn more about the Hall of Fame career of my Fox Sports colleague, my dear friend right now. I carried her breast pump when needed. Like, this has actually happened. I don't know what the hell has happened to my life. She's probably saying the same thing. Here's more about the great Carly Lloyd.
Relentless worker, dynamic goal scorer, clutch performer. These are the things that make a Hall of Fame career. And few American soccer players, male or female, have ever combined all of these things as well as Carly Lloyd. She helped push soccer in this country to the next level while inspiring the next generation of female footballers. Lloyd was born in New Jersey, and by the age of 5, soccer was already her first love. She played co-ed youth club soccer with the Medford Strikers and played all 4 years for Delran High School. In her senior season, Lloyd netted 26 goals in 21 games, and she earned All-State, All-America, and Player of the Year honors. Her college career at Rutgers University is the stuff of legend. She started every game of her freshman season, scored 15 goals, and was named the Big East Rookie of the Year. The next season, she was chosen as a finalist for the Herman Trophy, which recognized the top player in college soccer. Lloyd scored 50 goals in just 83 appearances for the Scarlet Knights, and she was inducted into the Rutgers Hall of Distinguished Alumni in 2013. At the pro level, she played for the Chicago Red Stars, Sky Blue FC, and Atlanta Beat of women's professional soccer. When the NWSL was established in 2013, Lloyd played for the Western New York Flash, the Houston Dash, and Gotham FC. But Carly Lloyd will always be remembered as one of the best to ever pull on the red, white, and blue for the U.S. women's national team. Lloyd would be on the pitch and on the score sheet for some of the greatest moments in U.S. women's soccer history. At the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing, she netted the game-winning goal in extra time against Brazil. That goal earned the USA its 3rd Olympic gold medal. She would earn Olympic gold again in London at the 2012 Games. Lloyd scored both goals in the championship match against Japan in front of 80,203 fans at Wembley Stadium. But it was her performance at the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup that soccer fans will never forget. The USA played Japan for the 3rd consecutive World Championship final, and the team and Lloyd put in a performance for the record books. Within the first 16 minutes of the match, Carly had scored a hat trick, including a 55-yard chip from midfield that caught the Japanese keeper off her goal line.
Lloyd with Morgan streaking. She's chipping the goalkeeper! Off the post and in!
With the final whistle, the U.S. had a 5-2 victory and another FIFA Women's World Cup trophy. And at the 2019 tournament in France, goals in the first 2 group stage matches made Lloyd the first woman to score in 6 straight Women's World Cup games. When Lloyd retired from international play in 2021, she had earned 316 caps, scored 134 goals, and added 64 assists, putting her near the top of the U.S. and world record books in all 3 categories. After retiring from competitive soccer, Lloyd has remained close to the game she loves, working as a TV commentator for Fox Sports. Her endless engine and her love of the game helped take Carly Lloyd and the U.S. women to the top of the soccer world. But her legacy lives not only in the trophies she raised, but in the countless women who continue to be inspired by what she did on the pitch. And in 2025, Carly Lloyd was inducted into the National Soccer Hall of Fame.
Certified badass. Certified badass. Carly Lloyd. Are you done? Are you done with your mother duties? Can we do this? She literally was just in the back about 7 minutes ago. I had to go check on her. I see you. I see you. She's waving. God dang it. She's a beautiful girl, little Harper. All right. Please welcome Carly's father, Stephen Lloyd, to present her for induction here into the National Soccer Hall of Fame.
Hello, everyone. Oh, there really is a clock there.
This is really scary being in front of so much soccer greatness. Just so amazed to be here. I guess I'm part of soccer greatness. I have 3 wonderful children, and I'm the dad of Carly Lloyd. So I'll put myself in for a little bit of the history. Anyway, when Carly asked me to be a presenter for her induction to the National Soccer Hall of Fame, I was tremendously honored. I must admit, however, I was a bit nervous about getting up in front of a room full of people and giving a speech. I convinced myself, however, that if Carly could play in all those World Cup, Olympic, and NWSL games, I could give a 5-minute speech. Besides, no one will remember me. It's Carly's speech that will be remembered. Sorry, Carly, no pressure. Congratulations to Chris, Mark, Mary, and Nick for their induction this year. After watching their achievements and hearing them speak, this truly is an amazing class this year. Thank you all that voted for Carly. I'm sure many are in attendance today. Thank you also to the National Soccer Hall of Fame. This is an amazing organization created over 70 years ago to recognize the achievements of men and women involved in soccer in America. It is also so special that Carly achieved this honor on her first year of eligibility. Before I start with the important Carly part of my speech, I would like to give a mention to our family. It was important for all of us to be here this weekend. What makes it so much more special is that it was so important for Carly to have us here. And that being that we all are here to share with her is definitely special. All 5 of our granddaughters were able to attend, and I see they appeared. They were missing for a while, but Brooklyn, Juliana, Genevieve, Harper, and Parker. Also the parents, Stephen and Brianne, Ashley and Brian, and Carly's husband, Brian. Special recognition must go out to my wife, Pam. She was the one that held us all together during Carly's playing days, juggling her job, maintaining our home, and raising 2 younger kids while I was traveling with Carly. She made sure they were not forgotten and that they were also made to feel important. Figured it was not necessary to list all of Carly's achievements. I know the Hall of Fame will do an amazing and professional job of that, and they did. I am awed by what she accomplished, and I could never have imagined she would accomplish so much. I was just hoping she would make it to the national team, have a couple of years, maybe rack up a few caps, and get a few goals. And maybe make it to one Olympics and an outside chance that she might make it to a World Cup. But boy, what a journey this has turned out to be. Pam started Carly in soccer at the age of 5. She played with her friends and new schoolmates, both girls and boys. She was told the ball must be kicked. Do not use your hands and try to put the ball in the net. The whistle blew and she went to work and didn't stop for 34 years. She stood out in those early years, but it was around the age of 14 that I began to think she might have what it takes to play at a high level. God blessed her with a natural athletic ability, and combined with her drive, desire, and hard work, she made it. So much happened in those early years. She had so many great teammates, coaches, and trainers. They are part of the reason she is here today. All those who have played at a high level know what this journey entails. The weight of waiting for selection to state, regional, and eventually national teams is agonizing. The benchings, injuries, pressure to win, and the disappointing losses. I spent countless hours traveling thousands of miles, watching hundreds of games. As Carly got older, the pressure increased, but she mostly thrived on it and worked harder. One regret I have looking back was not always knowing when the pressure was sometimes too much to bear, but she endured through it. 2008 was the start of 12 years of separation for our family. These were difficult years for all of us, including Carly. We all continued to follow her career and prayed for the day we would be back together. I think we always took it for granted that she would win the game, score a decisive goal when it was needed. Many times she did just that. She was a quiet, hardworking leader most of the time. She led by example and by her work ethic. The stats grew, the caps kept coming, and Carly continued to be Carly. Standing here today, reflecting on these years, I don't take Carly's achievements for granted. I realize the greatness of what she accomplished, the difficulties she endured, both mentally and physically. What matters is she made it, and she made it on her own terms. I am so thankful that she is here receiving this recognition for her hard work. Soccer has shaped and matured Carly and helped teach her the skills necessary to deal with her smooth transition to retirement. She hasn't skipped a beat and approaches life the same way she approached soccer, with dedication and hard work. Carly, you started this journey, a young girl with a dream. You achieved your dreams and returned to us a dedicated and strong sister, wife, mother, and daughter. It is an honor and privilege to introduce my daughter, Carly, as an inductee into the 2025 class of the National Soccer Hall of Fame.
I was just excited to get this coat on because it's about 30 degrees in here. So was anxiously awaiting. Thanks, Dad, for the beautiful 10-minute speech. Sorry, it went over a little bit. Jorn, to you and your entire team, thank you for organizing such an incredible weekend. I can only imagine how much effort went into every single detail, and you all have done an outstanding job. A heartfelt thank you to U.S. Soccer, the Hunt family, and FC Dallas for bringing this remarkable Hall of Fame to life. My family and I got to hang out quite a bit today in there, so we thoroughly enjoyed it. And I've had the privilege of playing in the stadium many times throughout my career, and to now return as an inductee is truly a full circle moment, one I'll cherish forever. Congratulations to my fellow 2025 inductees, Mark, Chris, Mary, and Nick. It's an honor to share this class with each of you. Thank you for your passion, your leadership, and for helping to move the game forward. And finally, to everybody that voted for me, thank you. Your support means the world. So it's been about 3.5 years, which is pretty crazy since I retired. Feels like it was just yesterday. And in that time, I finally had the space to truly reflect on my career. I've spent a lot of time thinking about what I wanted to say today. I knew I didn't need to stand up here and talk about how much I love the game or how hard I worked. Most of you already know that about me. What I wanted to share wasn't from a perspective of a competitor.
but as a person, a human being. And what I kept coming back to again and again was one simple question: was it all worth it? Was it worth dedicating my entire youth years to soccer? Was it worth being so ruthless on myself when things didn't go well? Was it worth having my life be consumed by the game? Was it worth the guilt of taking time off or feeling like I hadn't trained enough? Was it worth all the sacrifices, missing funerals, birthdays, holidays, weddings, and other important milestones? Was it worth allowing a trainer into my life that over time created a wedge between me and my family for over a decade? Thank you, Harper. Was it worth putting my husband second? Was it worth being so intense, so obsessed every single day of my career? Was it worth not allowing myself to fully enjoy some of the most meaningful moments out of fear that I might slip backwards? And the biggest question of all, was it worth putting off starting a family? The truth is, the path of a professional athlete can be an incredibly lonely one. Very few truly understand what it takes to reach the top because most never do. You question who you can trust, who you can confide in. You deal with fakeness and jealousy. You quickly learn that you can't please everybody, and not everyone will understand you or like you. You can never get complacent. There's always another coach looming in the near future that may not pick you, and another player waiting to compete for your spot. You have to constantly evolve, reinvent yourself, and prove that you still belong, especially with age. The 99ers were my idols. I can still remember watching them play against Denmark in the 1999 Women's World Cup at Giant Stadium in front of nearly 80,000 fans. The moment lit a fire in me. I sat there in complete awe, both inspired and convinced that a dream like that might be possible. Growing up, I often wrestled with self-belief, but I was from Jersey, so I wore confidence like armor and carried myself as I could do anything I set my mind to. Fast forward 5 years, and suddenly my dream started to feel within reach. I was invited into my first national team camp, the one right before April Heinrichs would select the roster for the 2004 Olympics. That camp gave me a real taste of what the team culture and mentality was all about, thanks to Mary Harvey and Foudy and CP. And wow, it was intense. I remember feeling completely out of place and unprepared. The speed of play was like anything I had ever experienced. It felt like I had never had a second to think, let alone make a decision. Thankfully, a few veterans, Tiffany Milbert, Shannon Camillan, Danielle Fotopoulos, to name a few, took me under their wings and helped me navigate the chaos. On the flip side, I had Brianna Scurry yelling at me to defend during 5v5, which, let's be honest, I hated defending at that point in my career. And Mia Hamm letting me know loud and clear that I hadn't played the ball to her proper foot, rightfully so. I didn't know if I'd be invited back, but I watched the team go on to win gold in Athens, and it only fueled my hunger. In 2005, I got another shot. The team was in the midst of CBA negotiations, pushing for guaranteed contracts, pregnancy leave, and proper health benefits. Many of the veterans had retired, and there weren't many matches that year. I played in just 2 games, but every moment mattered. By 2006, Greg Ryan had taken over as head coach, and I was laser focused on earning a starting spot. But first, I had to face something I always avoided, defending. If I was going to make it, I had to become a two-way midfielder. That meant figuring out how to work alongside of Shannon Box, one of the greatest defensive midfielders of all time. Sometimes we butted heads, and honestly, sometimes it was just me being stubborn and strong-willed, as she was as well. But over time, we built one of the strongest relationships I've ever had, both on and off the field. I'm incredibly grateful for everything I learned from Shannon, and I absolutely loved playing side by side with her for so many years. I also remember having one of those surreal pinch me moments, sitting next to one of my idols, Christine Lilly, talking about TV shows as we headed to China. In coach seats, mind you. We've come a long way with that. Coach middle seats. I looked up to players like Heather O'Reilly, Christine Lilly, Heather Mitz, Leslie Osborne, women who absolutely crush fitness tests with ease. I used to wish that I could breeze through them the way they did. And I'll never forget sitting down, having an individual meeting with Greg Ryan, telling him my personal goal. I wanted to become the best player in the world. And he chuckled. But hey, they say dream big, right? I was far from perfect. I came into the national team with confidence in that classic Jersey swagger. I didn't care if you were a veteran or a rookie. I was there to earn a spot. And I knew I'd have to prove myself every single day. So, was it worth it? As lonely and difficult as the journey was at times, I would do it all over again. There was nothing I love more than winning, but winning comes at a cost, and I paid that price. Yet in return, I gained more than I ever could have imagined. Soccer pride provided me with the tools to conquer anything that life throws my way. The national team was the most cutthroat environment I had ever experienced, and yet I owe nearly every part of my life to it. It pushed me to grow in ways I never imagined. I was forced to learn hard but invaluable lessons. How to face failure head on and not let it define you. How to stay humble and hungry in success. How to learn to persevere and not let moments break you. And how you need to learn how to lead yourself before you can lead others. I also learned the importance of teamwork and how valuable mental toughness and resiliency are in order to climb to the top. In the end, it wasn't just the championships I cherish most. It was the journey from beginning to end, the lessons, the growth, and the experiences along the way that shaped me. I wasn't there to make friends or follow the crowd. I was there to push myself to the very top while helping my team win championships. That drive often meant keeping people at a distance. I avoided unnecessary drama. I rarely showed weakness, and vulnerability wasn't something I allowed myself to express. I wouldn't say I have regrets, but if there's one thing I do wish, I wish I had let more people understand me over the years. I operated like an emotionless machine. I was intense, and I truly believed that the only way for me to survive in such a cutthroat environment was to be that way. So to my teammates, I want to say this. I'm sorry I wasn't always able to give you all of me. We can all look back at certain points in our lives and wonder what we might have done differently. But in each moment, we do the best we can with what we know. And I believe that my journey unfolded exactly the way it was meant to. When I asked myself, was it worth waiting until my career to start a family, even knowing the struggle that followed, my answer is yes. I know in my heart, I couldn't have done both at the level I demanded of myself. And that struggle became my greatest reward. We are so blessed to have Harper. She is my greatest accomplishment. I always knew I wanted a child, but I had no idea how this little baby could completely change me as a person. Unlike during my playing career, I have been present. I have allowed myself to be vulnerable, emotional, and fully engaged in every moment I get to spend with her. Being her mom is my greatest joy. And thanks to everything I experienced in my career, I now have the tools to help her navigate this world. I want to teach her how to be strong, to chase her dreams, and to understand that nothing in life is handed to you, you earn it. I wouldn't be standing here today if it weren't for all of my teammates. You pushed me to be the very best version of myself. Yes, we all had individual goals, and yes, survival on this team meant doing what we needed to do. But the competition we created within the U.S. Women's National Team brought out the best in all of us. It was a dream come true to play alongside of my idols and to learn from so many incredible players. I'll forever be grateful to all of my teammates throughout the years. Thank you. To the 5 U.S. head coaches I had the privilege of playing for, Greg, Pia, Tom, Jill, and Blacko, thank you. I always told myself, be so good they can't ignore you. We didn't always see eye to eye, and while I didn't always agree with every decision, I always did my best to respect them. My goal was simple, to make it as hard as possible for you to leave me off a roster. I was able to hang in there for 17 years, so I say I succeeded a bit. Thank you for the memories, the belief, and for constantly pushing me to be my best. I was fortunate to be able to play in 2 professional leagues, the WPS and the NWSL, playing in Chicago, New Jersey, Atlanta, Western New York, and Houston, as well as getting to experience a short stint in England playing for Manchester City and winning an FA Cup. Thank you to all of my coaches throughout those leagues and staff for the memories over the years. To the support staff and everyone working behind the scenes at US Soccer, thank you. You all are the unsung heroes. From logistics to medical to equipment to operations, you did the work that allowed us to show up, compete, and perform at the highest level. When I started, the delegation list was small, but over the years it grew, and at one point, we had more staff than players, and I'm sure it's grown even more since I've retired. Your work mattered. It always mattered. To the fans, thank you for your unwavering support of me and of this team over the years. Your passion, your belief, and your energy lifted us in ways you'll never fully know. To the media and the journalists, thank you for your coverage and for helping play a role in the growth of soccer by telling our stories. I do have to admit, there were plenty of times I used you as motivation throughout my career, so thank you for that as well. To highlight a few of my coaches I played for in my youth days, my club coach, Joe Dodora, my high school coach, Rudy Klobach, Rutgers coach, Glenn Crooks, and the under-21 coach, Chris Petroselli, thank you. You challenged me, believed in me, and allowed me to express my game while constantly pushing me to get better. And Chris, I've said it before and I'll say it again, thank you for cutting me from the under-21 team. It was exactly what I needed. That moment lit a fire under me and became a turning point in my career. To my family and friends, thank you for your patience and understanding throughout this wild ride and for your love and support through every high and low. To my sister Ashley and my brother Stephen, I am so sorry that we lost over a decade of years together. It hurts me to my core that we missed each other's weddings and countless holidays and birthdays. Ashley, thank you for that call in 2016, right before you were about to give birth to Brooklyn. I've asked myself what would have happened if you never did that. I couldn't imagine not being in my niece's life. And these last 5 years with you both have been some of the best years of my life, getting to spend time together. I'm grateful beyond words and your love and support. I love you both. To all of my nieces, Brooklyn, Juliana, Genevieve, or French Fry, as we call her, and Parker, it's been one of my greatest joys of my life being your aunt. I love each of you so much and always cherish the time we spend together. Mom and Dad, I don't know if I can fully express how sorry I am for the years we lost. At the time, I was focused on one thing: success at all costs. I know we can't get those years back, but what we've built since has been the most meaningful gift I could have received. Thank you for everything you did for me growing up. You were amazing parents. and laid the foundation that allowed me to chase and achieve my dreams. You continue to be incredible parents and now incredible grandparents to your 5 grandchildren. And Brian, if he's even in the room, yes, he still is. Where do I begin? It's been 25 years together. We've been through everything, practically every phase of life, every up and down, and we've weathered it all because of our love for one another has always been stronger than the challenges we faced. I know I was intense, less intense now, and obsessed throughout my career, and you took a back seat so that I could chase my dream. And yet you never complained. Without your love and support, I wouldn't be standing here today. It takes someone truly special to understand the life that we lived. Thank you for being that person. You are the most incredible husband, and now watching you as a father has been the most beautiful thing to see. There was no greater honor than wearing the red, white, and blue. Yes, it was extremely hard. There were countless sacrifices along the way, but every bit of it was worth it because I loved the game. The lessons I learned, the relationships that I forged, and the experiences I gained were more than I ever could imagine. I am forever grateful for what this beautiful game provided me with. To the next generation of players, always remember that the journey is just as important as the destination. Embrace the challenges, believe in yourself, trust the process, and never lose sight of why you started. But most importantly, cherish the relationships you build along the way. This game will eventually end, but the impact you have on those around you and the lessons you carry with you will last a lifetime. I am really excited for the future and talent of the USWNT. Emma and the coaching staff have been doing a fantastic job, and I will be rooting for all of you every step of the way. Once again, it's an incredible honor to be standing up here, inducted into the 2025 class. I thank you all, and it's been an absolute pleasure to represent my country all those years, and I will always cherish this day forever. So thank you.
Hey, we're going to stand up one more time. I know Chris Armas left, but I want our honorees to stand up as well. Mark Abbott, Mary Harvey, Nick Rimando, Carly Lloyd. Congratulations on your induction into the 2025 National Soccer Hall of Fame. Thank you again to the Hunt family. Thank you again to FC Dallas, US Soccer, Major League Soccer, everybody who's played a part in this evening. So with that, our program is complete. On behalf of the National Soccer Hall of Fame, thank you again for joining us today here in Frisco as we honor the class of 2025. We do ask that all Hall of Famers and the Colin Joe's Media Award winners to please come to the stage for a group photo. With that, thank you. Thank you. Rimando party, it's on now. Party's on. We'll see you guys at the bar. Thank you again. Congratulations to everyone.